sure.
I want to make sure I get the stream picked
My audio's good and everything.
I think your audio is good. Yeah, none of that stuff's changed.
Good thing I'm an audio geek. I can move my fucking microphone.
Yeah, YouTube picked us up. Nice. How about
dope.
I think your audio is good. Yeah,
none
of that stuff.
Mike's hot.
Mics are
hot.
Yeah, they definitely are hot. No, that's the usual way. That's why I was warning you. You know, I always do the yellow screen. Well, no, I told you though. I told you we're going live. Yeah, no. All right. Anyway, let's get the show started. You guys have no idea what we've been going through. Hold on a second. All right, 3, 2, 1, and we're live. Okay. Hey, and welcome to the Technocrat Live. I am your host, Matthew Newhall, and this is the illustrious, usually behind the camera, if you've been in a time warp for the past 2 years, Secret Steve May. So,
hey, sexy.
Yeah. Hey, what's
How you
up?
doing?
What's up, man?
How you doing?
How's it going?
I'm
We
tired.
have had a crazy time. My network cable died.
It's so funny. Yeah, no, that's the thing that was so funny is that my first instinct is like, maybe we should just change his cables. I'm like, do you have other cables? He's like, yeah, I got other cables. And he just didn't think twice about it until the very end.
Yeah, I have all the cables. And I didn't need
all the cables.
Well, I had another cable run. It's in the loom that I have running across the room. So I had this. What do you think of the setup, man?
It looks
like how's it go?
Looks like a setup.
You like
it's
Do you like my rolling engineer studio? Even though none of that shit worked at
That's honestly
first.
something that's like so great too. I know with me when I was working with Area 22, we had like VESA mounts for the computers, and I needed all that desk space. It was like it.
Right.
And me running out. I remember the worst part is you don't have an engineer, so don't have to worry about that. But my legs were always exposed, and I'm just like they're just getting a straight crotch shot of me because my chair's like higher up, and they're like, sitting and, like.
So I've actually I had a couple of guests on. I feel bad. The camera was pointed down a little too low, and it was a few reasons for that. One is I was using webcams, which was no good. We're gonna talk a lot of geek here on the show, and I'm just gonna let the conversation flow. I have a lot of stuff to tell you. We're going to talk a lot of studio and show geek stuff. Yeah. Because that's one of many Steve's bags, right? And
pretty much.
Yeah. And this is a new he's never seen the studio. He was my engineer on Area 22 for years. He's still my biggest fan.
We made love many times.
It's true. It's true. and it wasn't always physical, but it was always psychic. So
very intense eye contact.
Why you thought I was talking to you? I was actually making love to Steve. You know, secretly in the background. We just always made sure to filter those noises out, right? So you couldn't hear our mind's eye. So, You
got the chat feed on there too, right?
What?
You got the chat feed on there too.
Yeah, I got the chat feed. So, I wanted to, hang on a second. I'm actually going to tell everybody to get on live because I don't think they know we're live.
I mean, I just got a text from a couple of people who are like, hey, I can't find the link to your show. And I'm just like, yeah, technical difficulties. For reference, we were supposed to start at 8.
We're supposed to start at 8.
It is currently 9:30 Eastern.
It's not totally my fault, all right? So
it is part my fault too.
Yeah. So while I was having my technical emergency,
I also got a technical emergency,
which I was like really overdiagnosing. That Steve got a music emergency. How cool is that?
Yeah, basically.
So tell me about why I text people. Tell everyone about what you can say about your music emergency.
Okay. I guess I'll just go through my backstory. So I adopted this wonderful little dog, right? It all started there, right?
What?
He's a menace, but I adopted this beautiful little dog. His name is Kaiser. He's a black German Shepherd, and he's very strong. But we adopted him because we were basically we found the owner wasn't able to be around him too much. So we're like, okay, listen, I'm a freelancer. I have like a free schedule. I can work from home mostly. And I could take care of him, and if I can't, then one of our roommates will, and whoever like adopts him, he will have like a good life. And I was like, I was spending time with him. I was like sleeping on the floor with him, and we were watching Fallout on the TV together.
Dog is watching Fallout.
Me and him were watching Fallout.
Oh, I can't wait to talk to you about dogs and frame rates. Go ahead.
And he enjoyed looking at dog meat, the dog in Fallout. Anyway, so we were watching Fallout, and I got. So the next day after I adopted him, because I was sleeping on the floor with him because he had really bad anxiety, and the next day I got an email from what I thought was spam, was saying like, "Hey, I work with Sony, and I really he's like, I really like your work, and I want to know if you can do this this tour." And I'm like, "What?" like a guy who said literally the day before when I adopted the dog, they're like, yeah, I know my schedule is like I'm usually pretty home for most of the time.
Right.
And yeah, so then the next day I like it's been a whirlwind of stuff, but yeah, I eventually had to go do some festivals for Sony, and then I had to do some editing work. And currently there's a ongoing tour with one of their artists. I don't know if I can say the artist or anything like that, but I'm working with one of the artists for their ongoing tour and helping their cut content, because like the benefit of having that big label is you have people like on the back end who like, if you're unable to get enough stuff out because of just how hectic tour is, then you have people who are able to help cut your content. So I was doing that, and just now another artist just dropped a music video about 30 minutes ago, and I got a phone call. I was like, hey, kind of an emergency, we need clips for this song right now with this font, this color, get it out right now, we'll pay you. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, could it wait a couple hours? I'm about to be like pretty busy. And they're like, no, the song comes out in 30 minutes. If you can't do it, I'll find someone else. I'm like, Jesus, okay.
Wow.
I mean, they didn't say it quite that harsh, but it's kind of like that. There's like, hey, this is an emergency. We want you to be our go-to guy. And like being a new vendor, it's like, it's very interesting.
Right.
So like having that.
Well, there's a lot of conversation out there right now about people with social currencies, and one of them is reputation.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to put some money in the bank before you can say no.
Yeah, it's not even just that. Like I have a friend who worked on a lot of like really high-end music videos, and like. One thing that is so the music industry is way more messy than you think it is.
Okay.
The number one thing that usually happens, especially as a vendor, is that you front for your hotels and your flights, and they reimburse you via invoice. But my first invoice got really big, and I was getting really nervous about it because I was laying out like close to 5 digits for these things.
Holy cow!
Because they wanted me to stay in like in a hotel that was like $2,500 for like the 4 nights or whatever.
Yeah.
And like it was getting pretty intense, and like.
So here's a quick.
I was taking a gamble.
I personally, I'd want to stay in the hotel with the man, but is that possible?
That's what I did. I stayed in the hotel with So all right, I stayed in the hotel with the crew and the management. The person I was working with flew in on private the day of his show and left that night. Like right after. Yeah, but
Damn.
I did some content on his tour bus, which apparently didn't even need to be there, and like he had a queen size bed in the back and everything like that. It was It was interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah, but so I was like, so I stayed in that hotel, and I'm just like, it's just so expensive, and it's just not worth it. And it was a Best Western, so like a Best Western costing $2,500 for like 4 or 5 nights is pretty nuts if you ask me.
Yeah, a Best Western. I mean, was it in the center of a major city or something?
Gulf Shores, Alabama.
Yeah. Okay.
About an hour west of Pensacola, which is where I had to fly into, and I had to take like an almost $200 Uber to get to my hotel.
What the?
But my hotel was only 2 blocks from the venue.
What did they have it in, like a strip mine or something? What is going on?
It was pretty nuts. But yeah, so I did that, and it was getting really stressful because I'm like, listen, I just adopted this dog, and he has really bad separation anxiety, and he's barely sleeping when I'm like gone. And like I think at the time like my girlfriend was sick too, so it was really hard to like take care of him and everything.
Right.
And I was just like, it was morning to night working. I would start like I'd wake up. I made sure I got a hotel that had breakfast so I can eat, because otherwise I wouldn't eat. My eyes are up here.
I wasn't looking at your shirt, I swear. I was looking at the shirt.
Yeah, so the more
and it's beautiful muscles. Yeah.
So the morning of like I would get breakfast, and then I would just edit during breakfast from the content from the night before, and I would be working probably from 8 a.m. to 4 a.m. usually. That was like usually my hours, and like but the thing is that the deliverables weren't really high intensity, it's just high volume. Like you're cutting through 30 minutes a set, and you're cutting for like interesting clips, you're color grading, you're doing lyric matches, especially if it's like songs you've never heard before too.
Right.
So all that stuff kind of like added together.
Okay.
Are we on Facebook too? Or we're just on YouTube and Odyssey?
Just YouTube and Odyssey,
Dope.
Not Facebook. I don't currently have a Facebook account.
Dope.
The goal was next to what's happening?
I'm good with
These
that.
are good things.
Facebook Live is pretty frustrating.
Yeah, I it sucks because of course I built this audience on Area 22.
Yeah.
If you're on Facebook, I will notify you about shows on Facebook. I'm not sure how I'm going to handle that protocol yet, But anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt your show. So you're in a salt mine someplace.
Yeah.
And your dog and your sick girlfriend are like holding on to each other, cold, dying in a snowy blizzard. And
yes, and then snowy blizzard in the middle of May.
And they realized that you were a company man at that point. Is that what happened?
Yeah. So kind of like what happened is that I got picked up by the label as a vendor. And like I'm working on like doing multi-shot music videos from playing live, and I'm working on like all these just like very like kind of wild things I didn't think were possible. And like all these artists, like I remember I got a photo pass for an artist that I was not supposed to work for at all. I couldn't even make it because it was clashing with an artist I was supposed to work for.
What's a photo pass again?
So when you're doing media for like a brand, so let's say a magazine or a label or artist or even just the venue, you get like a sticker that has the name usually of the artist that you're photographing or doing video for or whatever, and you put it either on your thigh or on your shirt. And if you're going even more intense, you get a wristband. There's like a special kind of wristband, so you can get access to certain areas if you're working a festival.
Right.
And if you're working just a really big show, like I worked a show at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium, you get a credential lanyard. Okay. And it's like a laminate and I would show it, but the number one rule in music is you don't show your lanyards because people can copy them and get access to places that they shouldn't.
Right. They walk by with a good camera. Click.
Not even that. They just could see it in like a photo. Like, oh, someone's in a photo pit doing photos, and I can see what this lanyard looks like. Make it real fast on their laptop, print it out from like a mobile printer, and they're done.
What?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It's wild. So
pretty soon they're gonna have to put all of you in those cell phone cases they magnetically seal when you go to a comedy show.
Yeah, no, but it's even more wild is that they do. There's what was it? I think Falling in Reverse. My friend did video for them. Like he was on team to do a live music video.
Right.
And they required 3 photo credentials and like a special like sticker as well.
Right.
And if you didn't have all 4 of those items, you cannot get in.
Wow.
It was like, it's pretty wild, yeah. So like people take it really seriously, but they have to, because if it leaks, then they have to reprint everything, and people are screwed. Like I know one of the band members said to me, he's like, hey, my friend works in production for this artist. I just need to get him back here real fast, and he couldn't get a credential. Can I borrow yours? So I'm like, I guess. Like I wouldn't say yes to anybody else, but he's a member of the band. I didn't think it'd be an issue.
Right, right.
And it was an issue, and they wanted to confiscate my photo credential. And I'm like, dude, I need to work. What if I leave? I can't come back. So then he's like, listen, you got duped. It's fine. Here, take it. Just be careful. And that's it. But they take it really seriously.
Wow, wow.
Because with the right credential, you can get anywhere you want.
Well, it's like almost like hyperinflation of musician credentials.
Yeah. And like I would go like I would get stage access with it. I get backstage, green room, VIP, all that stuff. Like I know for one of the festivals I was at, like it was a festival on the beach. That's what it was. And like there was a artist beach where they just gave you basically free alcohol. There's no water, so I was just living off of like Sprite and vodkas.
No water.
Yeah,
you may not have water. Only booze.
Fucking wild. I'm so happy we're live.
Yeah, because everyone's so much more on key when they're drunk off their ass.
Yeah, but I took the nerves off. Like the worst part is I was standing in front of like all these like big pyro stations. And like I took a picture. I should have sent you like references so you can put them up. I should have made you do my job. But
okay. Well,
I had photo references, so you see like the
you could have given me. You know what, dude? I'm like, all right. I'm just gonna tell this to the audience and to Steve. And I know I said I wasn't gonna do. He's got sake. I wasn't gonna do the news anymore. And I might. I'm not saying never, but I'm not gonna do it for a few weeks. I didn't have a great experience with Dystopia Report. I'd like be kind of like going through a dark night of the soul the past
good movie
year. So, like, I'm really sorry, everybody, about being so inconsistent. But I think I just want to find my vibe, you know? And I think just having you on here and just chilling and going with the flow. I don't even really have you know me. You know my old format.
I was so shocked. You never sent me anything to learn or anything. I'm like, should I know anything?
I used to have a script. I'm like, let me just try it. If there's anyone I can pull this off without a script with, it's Steve. Let me just try it without.
We've had like 5-hour conversations over nothing.
Yeah. Agreed. So.
But yeah, so it was really wild of an experience, and like sitting in like the artist tent. I'm like, one thing that's an absolute non-negotiable for me is I really hate sand. It's like
okay, Anakin.
I don't like not just me, but the women and children too. But, yeah, no, it's like because it gets all through like I was wearing Vans because I wear them fucking everywhere, and I have like these ones that are just like literally torn to shit because the ones that I bought that were brand new were like got destroyed by my dog at an upstate trip. He just put mud all over. He just kept digging the entire night, just digging. We saw a coyote that night. It was pretty wild. Anyway,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I was at I remember like I was getting sand all over everything. My Mac has like micro scratches on the screen because of the sand like getting in my backpack.
Oh yeah.
I had to bring my laptop with me everywhere. And
I fucked up a lens on a cell phone a couple cell phones ago. Like that.
So I'm just like, I don't want to be around sand. And then like I remember I heard some guy listing off all the drugs he was on, like they were Girl Scout patches. So that was fun.
What? Wait. I just nodded like that was normal.
I was like, okay, he's taking it well.
Yeah. Girl, what?
Is that salt or sugar?
That is sugar.
Okay, looks like kosher salt.
Yeah, no. Well, in case, you know.
Give them salt for their coffee.
Just to throw over their shoulder in case they have a really bad time of it.
They don't get assaulted.
Yeah. So they're going to lick their wounds?
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, so that's cool. So, like, are you enjoying doing musical photography? I mean,
and more video actually. So what happens is that like, actually, I have an example because I have a mode on my phone.
All right. So the way I would do it if I was, I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Here, I'm gonna show this. I'm gonna put this on the camera. Let's see if you tell me if you can see it, Mr. Cameraman.
Sure. Go ahead.
Are you able to see that?
Yeah. I don't know. It should be autofocusing. Come on. Give it a back off a little bit. Oh, it just went dark. You have to hit the button.
Oh, shiesty. There you go.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's okay.
Okay. It was good enough. All right. Anyway.
Yeah.
So this is what I do whenever I'm working a show. I get these set lists from either the artist. By the way, that wasn't the final set list. They changed it 5 times, and even one time about 3 minutes before they went on stage.
That is an autofocus lens. I'm not sure why it didn't pick you up.
Yeah, I'm seeing it's just kind of like... Anyway, you can get a gist.
Yeah.
The white ones are old songs, and then I usually highlight... So usually what is red means pyro, but I didn't know what the pyro songs were. So I just kind of like...
Oh, you don't want to be on stage when the pyros go off.
No, you just want to know so you can get the right photos. You can get wide angles and stuff like that.
I was thinking you'd be like Hetfield and like...
Yeah. God. The drummer for Falling in Reverse got third-degree burns because the pyros were so close to everybody.
What?
That's insane, yeah. But anyway, so I'm like, the ones that I marked red in this case were songs that were from the new album.
Mm-hmm.
So what Sony wanted in this case is they wanted only new songs and clips from new songs.
Okay.
So that's what I had to deliver, and so I need to know where I need to be, and like for the new songs, you want to get video.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else get B-roll, which means like kind of non-essential footage. So like A-roll, for example, is this camera, right? The camera did it refocus? It did. Okay. A-roll is like this camera. It gets getting us, right? And B-roll would be like getting footage of me drinking the cup or something like that, like non-essential footage. Mm-hmm. And did it refocus?
I don't know. It's weird.
Is it focused on there?
Yeah, it should be focused on people.
Ooh, I fucked up the setup. I changed the camera too. That was fun.
Hey, everybody, don't worry. I'll be there in a second. I'll just
yeah.
There we go.
But
it's on your face now. So.
Yeah. So anyway, so like you B-roll is like kind of like non-essential things. So like.
Real professional operation.
So like like a close-up of me drinking this would be like more B-roll, right. And then and it's usually shot separately, and then A-roll would just be like this.
Okay.
So anyway, so you get B-roll on your non-essential songs, A-roll on your essential songs, and like photos somewhere amongst like the non-essential tracks as well. So, and then you have to get them edited and delivered right after the show.
Okay.
So that's the important thing too. You need to have them sent directly and ready to post with lyrics, without lyrics, all that kind of stuff, and ready to go. And like the funny thing is that most of the videos done on my cell phone because cell phone videos do better and single shot videos do better. Not edits don't do well at all.
Okay.
And my phone is now a business expense.
Nice.
So,
excellent. Well, also you
but
have
the downside is I have to stick to iPhone.
To be spontaneous, right? That's the problem with a full, like a real interchangeable lens camera.
Well, that's why you had to carry 2 cameras on you.
Right.
And like, bro,
the shot you know is coming and the shot that you just got to grab.
Yeah, it's nuts. So yeah, it's pretty stressful. But anyway, I guess back to center. I got a call from my point of contact from the label,
right?
And like, hey, this artist is dropping a song like right now. We just need you to do these quick clips, add these texts in, and you're good to go. And I was just waiting to see if like he needed edits or anything like that. Funny enough, one of the edits I noticed I misspelled his fucking name. But am I allowed to curse on here? Does it matter?
Yeah, it doesn't fucking matter.
Shoot. Anyway.
Gee whiz! I can't believe that you said those dang gosh. I can't even fake curse. How do people do that? I mean, I feel like I could rap better than fake curse. I don't know. I know I'm not going to rap right now, but like, I don't understand how. I don't get how people can do that.
Anyway, the F word.
Yeah, go ahead.
Facebook.
Oh, forget it. We're banned.
Yeah,
we're banned for life. We said Facebook on YouTube.
Yeah. So anyway, I noticed I misspelled his name.
Don't get mad.
I resent that, but we're good to go. So I have my laptop here just in case I got to do edits mid show. But yeah, so he figured it out in about extra 10 minutes was just us waiting to see what had to happen. Anyway, so yeah, there's that. So that's part of my life. So that's fun.
That's great. Is that like mainly what you're doing for to pay the bill to buy the dog food?
Yeah, it's God. The dog food is also funny. One of the dog foods that we got was it went bad. So like, cause like it got ripped when it got dropped off. So the food was actually like getting contaminated by like bugs and stuff. So we got a free bag, and then so I submitted it to Petco, and my girlfriend submitted it to the brand, and the brand also gave us another coupon for free food. So we got 2 free bags of food that are like.
So now you have 3 bags of dog food with bugs in it.
No, those are all good. Yeah. Extra protein, dude.
Extra protein, right?
But yeah, so the so.
Straight out of Snowpiercer.
The label definitely pays the best. It's like a per project kind of basis almost, and it pays really well. But like I've also kind of used it to up my rates in some areas that I feel are non-essential things.
Right.
Like if I'm about to get let's say I'm about to go on tour tomorrow, right? But this one other company or band or whatever wants content, I have to charge them the same rate, unfortunately, because if I'm missing this much money, I need to have it recouped elsewhere.
Well, so this is an interesting problem that people face, and I've been oh, Ariella, what's up? Hey, how's life in the secret bunker? Thanks for tuning in so late, and everybody, thanks so much for tuning in so late. And if for some reason you don't know, this is Secret Steve, and he was my engineer on Area 22 forever, and he's probably my biggest fan because he had to sit through every minute of my
80 episodes, I think.
My total BS. It was crazy. It was it was a lot. It was definitely the bulk of my interviews, like 90% of them. So
yeah, no, it's getting to the point where God, I remember between you, Mark, and some of the old shows we had too before you guys, I predated you guys. I would have people just notice me on the street, like who were guests, and they're like, "Hey, do you remember me?" I'm like, I have no idea who the fuck you are. And they're like some big notable musician or something.
I had like 80 guests. It's crazy. I had some repeats and some panels, but yeah, I had like 80 guests.
Yeah, it was like and there was that, and like I engaged with the guests usually pretty decently. Plugged my music a few times.
Right.
But but I know I met some like high profile guests at like shows that I was working and stuff like that I ran into, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't remember you. Please refresh me with your name. And like, there's like, really? You're like, you serious?
I'm the big man on campus here. You're like, well, I was the big man on campus there. There you go.
I will tell you though that kind of job also, like, I never really was like starstruck like that. But
right.
That kind of job kind of gets you over starstruckness, because like if you are starstruck in any capacity, you're never going to work with the people that you like.
Yeah,
look up to.
Being starstruck's a bad idea.
Yeah, there's like definitely
nothing good comes from it.
There's definitely artists that I pay more attention to, that I care more about or whatever, that I'd be honored to work with. And like the one I'm working with right now.
Honored
is
different. Honored is like, wow, this is great. You know?
But I'll probably say to them, if I'm actually working with them, I'll say, hey, listen, I liked your work a lot on this. This is really cool. And like you just have a human conversation. But like I heard a story about this guy who was hanging out with Jason Momoa, and basically they just went to go to a festival, like a fair, and people just started lining up in front of him and just asking for photos and autographs, and he was just on his off day. He wasn't doing photos or anything. And like it's insane that he had to do just a free photo op when it was just his day off. Like people don't exactly treat like celebrities like people. They treat them like objects that are there for their own feelings of self-validation.
Well, all right, so I've noticed something.
We started really heavy.
No, this is oh my God, we could just keep going. I hope you're ready. Strap in. So, yeah, like I noticed when I sing, I actually for fun. If you somehow didn't know that, and it's actually been going really well. Like I've got a bunch of #1 songs on Star Maker, and I've actually gotten some nice compliments in local karaoke. So I do local karaoke's a lot, and I go in there with a bad attitude.
I go in there with screams.
I go in there. Well, I do some screaming stuff. I do some metal. I do classic rock. I do grunge. I do a lot of 80s pop, and I do some metal. And I'm not like nothing compared to Steve Scream. Steve still got me.
I mean, they're just different. That's why I had to like learn that actually. That I'll hear like there's like obviously like objective like badness that exists somewhere, than something where like technically you're not there or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you, just the hypothetical you. And then there's like subjective things like, oh, I don't like his tone, but he's a good vocalist. Like Coheed and Cambria, for example, their vocalist who sounds a lot like the vocalist from Rush.
Okay,
like, he's a love it or hate it vocalist.
Right.
And, like,
well, so is the vocalist from Rush.
Yeah,
there you go.
And but the thing is that like we can't deny their talent.
Yeah, no, of course not. Rush is amazing. I remember there was one episode we had a Rush fan right after Neil Peart died.
Yeah,
and we talked about Rush for an hour, and I'm like, I respect them, but I'm not a mega fan or anything. But like, you know, there was an hour worth of stuff to talk about for me as a nobody, you know. So
also, speaking of which, I was telling you about this before the show, but Linkin Park are back.
Oh, that's crazy! You were telling me they have a
new vocalist now.
They have a new vocalist. Is he also made of chocolate? No, I was at a concert once, and he I don't know if he like stage dove or he fell into the audience, and they're grabbing at him. He's like, "I'm not made of chocolate."
That's so funny. Yeah, her name is Emily Armstrong. Dead Sarah.
Nice. Dead Sarah, huh? Okay.
So she's so they premiered it with a it was like a whole bunch of like teasers and shit. But they premiered it with a concert that took place live on like social media as well as only for the fans. It was like a random drawing that occurred, I think, in California, and like she showed her stuff on there, and they dropped a new single today too.
Right.
Their first like actually new single, not like B-side stuff, and they're coming out with a new album I think like next month or this month.
So the thing that I noticed when I go to karaoke is like I go there, I'm actually trying to replicate the song. I'll even try to imitate the singers. Please, get the rum. That is cracking, by the way. I would strongly recommend it. It's freaking. Just be careful, moderation, man, because it's going to be delicious and it's going to be a problem. So we may be here a while. Anyway.
Moderation, right?
Moderation. Give me. I'm gonna watch some too.
There you go.
Thanks. I'm gonna mix some Coke with mine though.
Actually, my go-to combination is rum with Diet Coke.
Really?
Yeah, but every time I've been ordering it, I've been getting like rum with a shot of Diet Coke.
Do you do which Diet Coke do you do? There's two, right?
Well, there's Diet Coke and there's Diet Coke.
Is it Zero? Isn't there Coke Zero?
Yeah,
or
it's not
something?
Diet Coke. It's different.
Okay.
I like Diet Coke because it's a bit more bitter.
Okay.
Like me.
Yeah, bitter. Yeah, you like your stuff bitter. And that's what I love about you.
Also, it's just like
you're so bitter, it's sweet.
I feel less gross about it. Do you notice that I've never gotten a hangover before? I got it like once after drinking banana liqueur, but that's really it. But like I've probably had copious amounts of alcohol like dozens and dozens of times and never really got a hangover. And I think honestly it's due to the fact that I drink low sugar mixers.
Okay.
I think that's like a big part of it. I mean, I drink a lot of water. Like I have like this thing that I drink multiple times a day.
Oh, that's another great topic, but I'll come back to drinking. So the thing that I wanted to say about people do interpretive stuff when they're up there singing,
like
right?
Mimicry,
They're making music with their face parts, and you know, but it's not really music. Like a lot of them, some of them are musicians and they're trying stuff out, and some of them are.
Ooh, that's really nice. It's like fruity.
It's good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a problem.
Every single like sore thing in my mouth.
Nice.
I ate taco. Do you know what taco?
Make sure to wash that mug when you're done. Who knows where that mouth has been? That dirty mouth.
Do you know what takoyaki is?
With its dirty heavy metal.
It's takoyaki. It's like cooked octopus in like a fried donut ball almost.
Really?
Yeah, really good.
Okay, cool.
But I ate it the other day at a restaurant, and it was so hot it burnt the roof of my mouth, and the skin on both sides just kind of came off.
Oh.
And, like lovely. Like I'm sure.
So your mouth is filled with octopus tentacles. That's what you're telling me. Sweet. You learned it here first, folks.
The techno hentai life.
Well, it's appropriate that you're having the Kraken.
Yeah.
with its how did I know? Anyway, so it's like they'll just do this interpretive thing, and the thing is, they've made the music that they're singing into something in their mind that it is not for other people. Like everybody's got their own interpretation, and then they go up and they express that interpretation when they go up there.
Yeah.
So when you're in like starstruck mode, you're treating the artist like the object you've imagined them to be.
And that's how you always get let down.
Which is how trolls treat people online. So it's not really good.
It's not even just that. It's that like a lot of artists they get pushed to where they are because of getting mistreated by fans and by other people in the industry. Like by getting like obviously there's like no, I'm sure you know this with like the whole Sivgene stuff. There's no doubting that one of the key reasons so many people get famous is narcissism. That's like a key reason why people get famous. You need to love yourself so much,
right?
To that degree. But like even from the people that aren't narcissists, people who are just nice, wholesome people, like they get pushed to that point because they don't get treated like people. They get treated like objects. Like remember like Tobey Maguire when he was really big with Spider-Man, and every single time like TMZ or the paparazzi or whatever just caught him doing whatever, and he was just starting to snap because he was getting fed up with it.
Yeah. And so this has been interesting. This has been one of those things. You know, I have a somewhat successful computer geek career that I can. I'm going to be reinvigorating soon.
Yeah.
But you know, like I don't have to be known. Like, I could be a complete unknown. Nobody knows who I am. And I've thought hard about this with the show and with singing. I mean, music's a terrible business model. I mean, I don't know how the hell people do it, you know, present company included.
It's really difficult. I think the key answer is persistence. Every artist that I've worked with has at least like 10 albums out. And like they've been pushing each one hard.
That used to be the end of the career, not the beginning.
Yeah, no. I think one of the artists I'm working with, he just dropped like probably his like 15th album since 2016.
Oh my God!
And he's like really, really talented. Each one is really good quality material.
Mm-hmm.
But because now we don't have to worry about pressing vinyl and shit like that, you can just put out music whenever you want.
Right. Well, I just heard a stat from Spotify. It was, I think there's a new. It was from Beato. It's from Rick Beato.
Yeah.
And he said there's a new song, AI generated song coming. There's a new song being uploaded on Spotify like every fucking second.
Yeah.
Every second.
Because you have these artists who make like either. So there's two types of camps. There's the AI artists, and there's the ones who make just very simple whatever music under different names.
Yeah.
And like it's a money making machine. Like all right, so on Spotify you make. It takes 3,000 streams to make $1, I think.
Right.
That's what it comes out to. And the thing with Spotify is that if you just have enough of those songs, like just by straight like the venture capitalist approach of just doing whatever the fuck you want, throwing it all out there,
throwing spaghetti at the wall.
Exactly, something's gonna stick.
Right.
And even if it doesn't get big, people will just come across it, you know?
Yeah.
And like I was getting to the point where you don't know if it's legitimate or not. I think that if you really know your shit, you could tell if it's legitimate or not. Like based on if they have 17 fingers or not.
Right. Yeah. Well, also part of it is going to be does it inspire you to create an imaginary connection to it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it really just takes one off-key note or one uninspired word to make people go, ugh.
Well,
right? So there's going to be a lot of cringe in that mess.
People don't realize,
like not good cringe.
Like ChatGPT, for example, has a writing style.
Yeah.
Like you can tell that it was something was written by ChatGPT pretty easily if you have ever used it. And like
I'd like to test that. That's interesting. I wonder if somebody's done a test like that.
I can.
Oh, this is so new. I don't know.
I can show you examples.
Okay.
But anyway, and then
I believe you.
But and also like one thing I saw that AI does that I love is it works with the tattoo industry and like with commissioning artists. If you use it like, hey, this is my idea. Generally, this is kind of what I'm going for. And here I generated this with like Midjourney. Could you please like take this and like create it to something in your world?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool, you know?
Yeah, no, agreed, totally. I think that's the best use of it.
I just imagine being able to do that, you know? That's so cool.
Just
don't sell art as your own that isn't yours.
Right. Well, what is yours? Well, okay.
Something you didn't create with a tangible form of medium.
Can I go off on a tangent here for a minute about copyright and what belongs to you? So I've pre-recorded this twice and it hasn't worked either time. So I'm going to try explaining this concept to you during our live show because I'm thinking maybe this is what I want to do.
So good.
Yeah, right. Feelings noodly appendage. So this idea about copyright is really simple. AI has completely changed the copyright landscape. So if you're in any field, if you're in a legal field or IT especially, or in any kind of intellectual property field or copyright field, this especially pertains to you. But this is pretty much everybody on earth this affects majorly. So the way that civil law works is that in order to sue somebody, they have to have caused you financial harm, right? So you can
it's got to be provable.
It's got to be provable, right? Well, it's got to be provable. It does. But here's the thing. We're headed towards some really scary case law for AI because the one thing that there's a complete shortage of, and this has been discussed in public, this is not like just me making this up, is that there is a total shortage of human inputted data. And the way you know this is true is they're already trying to do secondary and tertiary data re-entry as the output from AI back into AI.
That's so funny.
With minimal hallucination. There isn't enough human data.
There's going to be like a half-life decay almost.
Well, here's the crazy thing. So if you think about copyright, normally if I would make a reference to how copyright works because I remember doing this from the Linux days, like the early Linux days. I explained to people like everything you do is copyrighted. And they're like, what are you talking about? The problem is in the past, nobody cared. If you crumpled up a napkin and threw it on the floor, that's copyrighted. That crumpling is you, and nobody can take that. But nobody cares because there's no monetary value. This is the problem with AI. everything that you do now just got monetary value. We're talking about catastrophic consequences for the copyright industry, because all that the way that the IT industry, speaking of venture capitalists and whatnot, would do things in the past, they would just collect everyone's data, knowing it wasn't worth anything, comb through it, find a pattern that was worth something, and then go, oh, well, we can use this data because it's worth this. Then they had the quantified number before they even started using it, and then they'd compensate people. But the data itself was kind of just this massive worthless data. That's no longer the case. That all that data can be used to train AI. All the data that is collected from you has copyrighted value with a real suable number on it now. What? This is why you watch the show, because otherwise you would never know that. That's the summary of what I was talking about. I'll have to put that in a clip.
Now we're in the Technocrat part of the Technocrat Live.
Yeah. So, but it's crazy, right? Because like even that's throwing the spaghetti at the wall stuff is, it becomes like a feedback loop. Somebody looks at that, says they punch slightly different words into Chat GPT. They put that out,
which also now generates images too. And now Apple Intelligence. Have you seen about that?
What?
Apple is now incorporating ChatGPT into its core user experience. So they're basically, how shitty Siri is pretty much, especially compared to like Google or anything like that, like any of the other like AIs that exist. Compared to like Bixby, Sony is not Sony. I just got a text from them, that's why. Siri is getting ChatGPT.
Hi, Sony.
She's getting ChatGPT incorporated into it at its core, where all of your information can be sent with ChatGPT.
Okay.
And it'll make Siri better, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
So one of the interesting things that's happening is that people are, they look at these feedback loops that we're talking about, like copyright, like normal.
I got to work while we're on the show.
Oh, that's awesome. Normal, useless. Is everything okay? Do you need to take a break? Okay. I can riff for a while. So
I can keep talking. One thing Matt knows more than anything is that whenever I do setup for the show, I would just have extensive conversations with him while I was doing setup. And then now the flip return happened where he had to set up his own end when we were going remote when COVID hit. And he's just like, how the fuck did you do this?
Yeah. I mean, I got really I'm like ADHD boy. So the thing is, I don't want to lose any topics. So actually, like sometimes you'll even see me taking down notes for myself. I'm actually gonna do one right now. Okay.
Like I go to the point I gotta go buy a font right now.
Gotta go buy a font. Let's all go to the e-store. Let's all go to the e-store and buy ourselves a font.
I'm glad that we had some elevator music for that.
Yeah. No, it's like never mind. I'm not going to complete it because I don't want to accidentally violate somebody's copyright, and then I'm in the AI dragnet. But so the thing actually I wanted to ask you. Oh wait, before I do that, we got a comment from Ariella. She says, I hung out with Vance Powell in his studio in Nashville. That was an amazing experience. I made sure not to be starstruck. Yeah, I mean, I've been hanging out with friends who met stars that they were huge fans of, and they lost it. They got crazy when they saw them, and they scared them off. But it's not just that. Now that I'm a little further into it, now I can see that idea where you've created this. Like I was mentioning before, where you create this image of someone that doesn't match who they are, and it's essentially like softcore trolling, because they're like, who is this person that you're talking about? That's not me. So the question that I actually had for you, and this should be a fairly easy one to think about. And I'll tell you my experience, and then you can riff off it and tell me if you've had anything similar. One of the things I found when I was out there doing karaoke is if the people who owned the establishment were happy with what I was doing, I'd get cheaper free drinks.
Interesting.
Yeah, like they'd
well,
I'd buy like 2 drinks and I'd get one for free. And the thing is, like, so I actually have like I'm not always on key, but I'm pretty close on key up to about 2 drinks. And then when I get to the 3rd, I start to slur and I start to get a little off.
Caring what your key is.
Yeah.
Is this the key of A or the key to my house?
Yeah. I don't know, man. And it makes for a funny time, but I'm actually taking it seriously. Like I'm there to practice. I'm there to get audience reactions, and it's a problem. you don't want to say no because they were like, this person's being kind to you and offering you more of what you wanted.
Yeah.
But it might be too much. Have you had a problem with people offering you free? Do you find yourself pouring drinks in potted plants just so that you can stay with it enough that you can get that killer shot? Because I like for me, I haven't said no yet, but I really learned to nurse the heck out of a drink so that nobody's offended. That was the middle ground I came up with. Well, because they're like, you're right logically, but that's not how people work, right? They get like, oh, but I just did this wonderful thing for you. So
I know I would get like if I got like a free drink by someone like hitting on me at like a bar, like there's one karaoke bar that I would go to a lot, and like there was always this like.
You do karaoke, right?
I used to. I don't have time. But,
okay.
I used to do it a lot, and there was this like one bar I used to go to all the time, and like this girl, like multiple girls I think bought me free drinks that night, and I didn't want any of them. One because. And one for obvious reasons. You don't know what's in it, right?
Secret stun Steve.
So you don't know what's in it. Mm-hmm. I don't like getting free things and special treatment like that.
Yeah.
And also, I don't want to give the wrong message.
Right. I get that.
Yeah, so I thought that was just kind of like really, really interesting. And I'm just kind of like, so I get it. It's like a weird problem to have, but I understand it. That like
I'm too sexy for this bar.
You don't want to offend people, and it makes sense.
Yeah. No, yeah, so I really don't know what the solution is. I would just say, like maybe if somebody's performing or if someone's a celebrity and you're thinking about buying them a drink or food, ask them because they probably ate. They're probably not starving, So and if they're drinking, they probably drank it. They're probably already watching how much they drink. So they probably drank the amount they want to drink.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that if you're accepting a shot from your friend that hilarity won't ensue, but if that's what you're doing every day all the time, it's got to drive you crazy.
I just don't like honestly drinking to that degree. Like I'm also working most of these events. Like I went to my first concert recently as a fan, and it was so weird. It's like I didn't know what to do with my hands. And
really,
but it was cool. Like I had some drinks. I was able to shake off that kind of like I need to be working feeling right now, and it was like really enjoyable in the end.
Do you mosh?
I used to a lot more. I'm old now.
You're not old, dude. I still mosh. You can mosh.
Matt, if I blink the wrong way, my back's gonna snap like a glow stick.
Oh, okay.
That's like. So it's not that. It's like not even like, oh, I'm just like, I have like a very kind of old soul kind of whatever thing. But like,
no, I got it.
I get kicked in because I go to shows that's crowd killing. They're not moshing, they're crowd killing.
Right. They're full on pinwheeling their arms and legs.
It's kind of like, listen, I need to work and I need to use my hands and my body to work. Like if I get fucked up, it's not like I'm working like a regular 9 to 5 where I'm at a computer. Like if I cannot use my camera, like I remember once I had a client and I thought they'd be understanding, but they really weren't. I broke my hand from my own issue, but still I broke my hand at a point and I had to edit a music video, or like a lyric video. And I told them like, hey, I cannot use a mouse right now. Mm-hmm. I can't use a mouse probably for another few months. I'm just letting you know that right now. And they're just like, are you better now? Are you better now? Are you better now? They don't care.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they just don't have another plan. So that just tells you you're super. Maybe that's time to raise your rates at that point. Like, yeah, I'm better if you could pay me twice as much.
I bought a trackpad to use because I could do this kind of.
Right.
But even still, like, it was fucking difficult, and like, it still hurt. I mean, it's a broken piece of your body.
Yeah, like I it could get wild in a pit. Like I went to a hardcore show. You were there, and actually I was also Luke was there. Luke was taking pictures at the show, and I was like, it was weird. He was like, he's at the edge of the and he's got his camera, so I know I know he's there. He's there to take pictures.
I broke my camera at a show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that the one you're talking about?
I think I know. I was at that show.
That's the show you're talking about.
Yeah. It might. I don't know if that was the same show, but I was at the show you broke your camera at.
At Amityville.
Yeah, it was Amityville, right? Yeah. Well, we've been to a few shows together at Amityville.
Yeah.
So, yes, and it's that Amityville. If you're international or national, it's Amityville Horror Amityville.
They changed the event. They updated Amityville musical. They changed they rebuilt it.
Really?
They expanded it and.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, pretty cool.
I can't wait to go check it out. Yeah. So, it's exactly what it was. Crowd
for working while I'm on the air.
There were some crowd killers there.
At doing that, right?
Right. Yeah, it's whatever. I don't care. Like, look, we worked hard to get on here. I mean, it's so dumb. It was so dumb. I mean, I should have just changed it. I'm like the quintessential, every pro level senior geek has got one of these stories where, like, yeah, I forgot to hit the button, or the power cable is loose, or the network cable. You know what it is? I should have. The power cable was plugged in. I checked the lights; it was lit. But the problem was, I think what happened is the cables were running across the floor, and they get stepped on. So I probably after a couple of years of that, it got smashed. Somebody kicked it too hard. And then that particular cable died. I have 2 cables run, so I just ran the other cable. And I plugged it in and everything worked. I'm like, what are you kidding me?
I mean, Matt,
so,
like, do you remember?
Shout out to David. Thanks a lot for your help.
Remember all the shows where I left the lens cap on? I didn't realize it until we were about to go live.
No.
Like,
well, then you started. Well, I actually, one of the reasons that happened is because I requested that Steve take the video off of the monitor because it was just distracting the crowd. You can tell I've gotten better at ignoring the video. But it took a lot. It takes a lot of practice when there's a video of yourself right in front of your face.
So like the thing is that we had the camera right here, and then we had a big TV over there.
Right.
That we used as a monitor, my bedroom TV actually. So I didn't get TV in my room anymore. But so we were using it in the studio, and people were just staring at themselves, and because that's where the comments were too. So what I would have to do is I would just do a looping animation and cover their whole body, and just so they could only read the comments.
So how did the camera break in that pit?
Some guy spin kicked into me, and then I flung forward. My camera just smashed onto the floor, and the lens just broke off. My camera was fine, but the lens broke, and the flash broke. And I was going on a weekender the next day.
So if you haven't ever bought a high, a moderate or high end camera,
$900.
There you go.
The flash was only $150, but I had to buy a new one for about $300, and I made $900 from that weekend.
Did somebody lend you gear for that weekend, or did you have it
I rushed it and bought myself. No, I bought myself. I just had another lens I was using, which is like a worse lens, but I just made it do. And I was actually shooting like a live music, like a kind of a recap music video of like the Weekender. So that was like pretty stressful. And I'm just gonna close this. I'm not reading this anymore.
Yeah. Okay. Is everything okay? Do you need to take a break or? Okay. We could always pause. Make people wait. All right.
Make people wait an hour and a half.
Yeah. And you know what? We're still picking up viewers. So hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in, and please feel free to jump in the comments and ask questions. I mean, Steve's the best, and he's pretty secretive. It's hard. It's elusive. It's hard to see Steve.
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on.
But I think I had to choose between the camera lens or a flash, and because I was doing photos too in dark venues, I had to pick the flash. So I just made do it. I got some good content, but like it's hard because my camera's so zoomed in because of the lens and everything, and it wasn't really the right choice for the show. But I made do, and actually it took me all that like hustling for the next like almost 2 years to get that new lens, to get my lens again, and I got it now. But like it took so much work for me to eventually get it, and because of that, I got so good at using my camera too. Right. Like I had to just learn what I need to do and how to get that. And I already knew how to use it pretty well, but like my camera also, like because the flash broke off, like the hot shoe mount on top of the camera kind of bent in, so I couldn't. I had to like literally pry it up so I can flat.
What kind of camera was this? Was this
a Sony A7S Mark II?
Wow, that's a nice one. That's still sought after.
Yeah, I mean I got it used for $900 with like only 2,000 shutter count. Wow. And I think it sells usually for like $1,350, something like that.
Right. How do you deal with shutter count if it's mainly used for video?
That thing was mainly used for video, so it doesn't matter. Also, shutter count on mirrorless cameras don't really matter.
Right, because it's a moving part. Well, so that would be a way to generally gauge use of it. So the higher end Sony cameras actually have fans. That's one of the reasons I went with this, because it's the only the Sony cameras really are guaranteed they could do 4K or 8K indefinitely.
Well, actually, my camera
because
couldn't until an update. It was overheating.
It was overheating. Oh, okay.
It was before my time.
Interesting.
But like so for example, there's 2 main types of cameras that people buy, right? Aside from like whatever like crop factors and stuff like that, that's a whole topic we don't need to get into. There's DSLR and there's mirrorless, and then obviously film, which is SLR. But DSLR is digital SLR cameras. DSLR uses a mirror and a manual shutter to open and close to take your photos. So the thing is that when you look through the eye cup of those kinds of cameras, you just see a straight like through the lens almost. You don't see what the camera is processing. So you don't see like your exposure settings and everything. So there's a lot of guesswork if you don't know what you're doing. Right. Then you have mirrorless cameras, which don't have those moving parts. It's a screen kind of that inputs all that, like captures all that data, and usually they're actually better with low light as a result. And so
it's literally like with a mirrorless camera, it's literally like a sensor, and it looks like a screen, but it's actually just for input, and it's not like it can display.
DSLRs are an actual mirror.
And I mean, you immediately get the danger and the value when you see one. It almost looks like a piece of pure silicon.
Yeah.
Like the guys in the suits would be. Honestly, I don't even know how they. I don't even. There must be a software algorithm that they use to work around dust particles that land on it.
Yeah.
I'm like terrified that mine's gonna get dirty. So far, I've been lucky, but I mean, how do you clean them?
You get them professionally cleaned. There's also like little air puff things. They can use to puff air to get debris off and stuff like that.
Okay.
I had a friend who used to use their shirt to clean it, which I don't recommend.
What?
But on the occasional time you get it clean, just hire somebody to do it. And when you're changing your lenses, point the camera downwards.
How expensive is it to?
Not too bad.
It's
it's a pretty fast thing. You could do. They'll do it while you're there.
They'll do it while you're there. So you bring it to a pro camera shop, and they'll do it while you're there.
Like small mom and pop shop.
Right.
I recommend you something.
That's where
like
I bought mine. I bought mine at a local mom and pop shop.
Yeah, I bought my lens from one. I love that shop. I wish I lived out here still, so I can like go to that shop. But anyway.
Right. You're in New York City now, right?
Yeah, I live in Queens. Where, oh God, if Nigel was here, we can quote that Eddie Murphy movie.
Well, yeah.
Fuck, what was the one that he went to?
You're talking about Coming to America? Yeah.
Where he's just like,
I came to
Queens to find my queen.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Hey, man, I'm not going to say I didn't think that at all when I moved to Queens. So, yeah, I'm not in Queens right now. I actually had to leave New York City. I'm divorced. So that was fun and exciting and required relocation. But
stressful?
So, like, I don't know. I'm kind of torn on New York. Like, on the one hand, I love the people and the nightlife here. On the other hand, the prices are just going up. It's crazy. I don't know how to survive here. So
no, it's very expensive. It's like
I mean, it's like 10 times worse for you. You're working in showbiz.
I think going on the road. One thing that I spoke to somebody about this recently. Like, it really got me thinking about it. But people outside of New York are just kind of generally have more fun, like at events.
Yeah.
Like if they have a concert, that's their thing that they're going to, and there's nothing else really going on for them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're usually throwing down for that. Like, they're having a good time. And New York is kind of like, is this better than just go watching TV in my apartment or going to the bodega and getting like a chopped cheese or something like that?
Right.
Yeah. But but I mean, listen, New York has its pros and cons. It's definitely like you pay to just be in proximity to things, not for the quality of your apartment. Does that make sense?
Yeah, right. If you're strictly an inside person, maybe it's not the place for you.
You're gonna have roommates. You're gonna be roommates with centipedes and all that. It's gonna be like
right.
But
and rats if it's bad enough. If you're broke enough,
yeah,
it happens. It's funny. The neighborhood I was in, you get rats. All of New York City gets rats.
Yeah.
If there's construction. Because what happens is the mice and rats will flee whatever is going on there, and they'll end up in everyone else's house.
And your roommate is, and not your roommate, but your neighbor is a slob, but you're immaculate. Rats will come into your apartment.
Yeah, it's a risk. Yeah. So I mean, it doesn't happen too often, but of course, most landlords handle it. But if they don't,
yeah. But also most apartments are like crooked too. So these.
Oh yeah, and everything's crooked. Everything's like completely sideways, and the floor's like you put a marble on one side, it busts through the wall, it rolls down the floor so
did
fast.
An episode about that. But I remember I've seen apartments that were like just crooked in so many ways. It was so funny.
Yeah.
But finishing the camera thing, just so we can move fully into this.
Yeah. We diverged.
But yeah, so mirrorless has a screen. It's lighter and it's generally better, and it's the go-to technology nowadays. That's just really what it is. Shutter count doesn't matter as much. They're great for video, and they're awesome cameras. Go buy one. Anyway.
Yeah.
Your phone's mirrorless for a reference.
So there's
no moving parts in that camera system.
So one of the things that affects the way that photographs looks is shutter speed. So they do something they have something in most cameras, and they have different names depending on the camera brand, but it's like a digital shutter.
Yeah.
And essentially what it's doing is it's just how many frames per second you're recording. So it's kind of an interesting thing with this camera. I have the Sony FX30. The main disadvantage over that versus the 3 is it doesn't have the camera modes.
It's a video camera.
It's a video camera specifically.
The FX3 is the same thing as the A7S3, the new version of my camera, but without the iCut.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and so those are more premium cameras. These are all pretty high-end cameras, but not inaccessible. They're like not ridiculous.
Not even high-end. They're high-end prosumer cameras. When you're talking high-end cameras, look at Red.
Right.
Red cameras were just the body.
They're so good.
They're $50,000 for just the body.
Right.
And then you also have to buy the batteries separately, which are a couple $1,000. The monitor, the handles, everything. Everything is separate.
Right. So
that's like when you get into pro video. And also like Hasselblad cameras and Leica cameras, which are almost like $10,000, $20,000.
So there's a fairly I'll give an example of the kind of things that just work on those cameras, and sometimes you have to futz around with them in these lower end cameras. Like there's a little on the right next to the picture button, there's a little jogger, and it's meant.
It's adjustment wheel.
Well, it's not the wheel. Actually, it's not the jogger. It's like the joystick. It's like a little lever.
Oh yeah.
And that's actually meant the way that's mapped by default. You can remap anything in the Sonys, but the way it's mapped by default is that you can manual focus in or out with electronic controlled focus. So in other words, you're physically moving the lens in and out as you're pushing this thing, but you have to have a lens that could do it, and there's only a handful of them.
I don't have that.
But if you get the high-end cameras and you get the lenses that are meant for them, everything just works. You know, that's
well, most actually video lenses are not any remote form of autofocus.
Yeah.
You're doing I do manual focus for everything. Every video you see shot by me is all manual focus.
Right. Yeah, so mainly the reason you would use that in a professional setting would be for zoom, I think, right? Or is that not true?
I know, especially with autofocus, it has its place. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Like, for example, if you're using like a gimbal, let's say, and you're not able to stay the same distance from your subject, then you need that kind of
a gimbal's like a thing
it's
that
a stabilizer.
You hook it either to a device on the ground or to your body or to something.
I have
overhead.
my camera bag. I just took my camera gear out of it.
Yeah.
But yeah. So if you're on a gimbal, let's say, and you can't control the focus, and you don't have the motors to do autofocus for you, then yeah, that's where it's good for. But if you're working like a concert or something where the lights are going on and off and going to black and everything, autofocus sucks because it loses focus.
Right, because the software's tracking and the software's losing track.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, also, last thing I didn't say about mirrorless cameras. So when I said the iCup with DSLRs is that there's a mirror so you can see, but you can't see what your camera's telling you.
Right.
In mirrorless cameras, because you don't have the iCup on here, there's a little screen inside called the electronic viewfinder, or the EVF. And that's a literal duplicate of what the big screen is, but for your eye.
Right.
It's a little baby like OLED screen in the iCup. It's so cool.
Right. And actually, it's funny.
And you can go through the settings and everything through your iCup.
My vision's like, and yeah. So one of the advantages to that little viewfinder is this: it has a little wheel on it, so you can adjust that, so you don't have to use these.
Yeah.
And if I want to see details on the screen, the big screen on the back of my camera, I don't have one of those viewfinders because it's a video camera. I have to put these on. So sometimes this is like, well, I like that blurry mess. Let's make sure that gets in the frame. And
Yeah.
I hope this is right.
By the way, before the show, when we were waiting, before I got like the call to get work done, I actually tweaked the settings on the camera for Matt.
You know where this is going. What did you do to my camera?
All right, so your camera.
So I can replicate it because it looks great. I don't know. Let us know if Steve's got a good job and looks good. I can see the difference. I mean, I have to put it on the big screen and put my glasses on, but I can see the difference.
So basically, without boring the viewers, because I know camera jargon can get really intense.
Yeah.
There's something called your shutter speed, which is basically how long.
There's a reason you're a pro.
There's a reason for your shutter speed is how long your camera sensor stays open before shutting back off.
Right.
So your shutter speed, you're shooting at 60 frames per second, and your shutter speed was at 1/160, I think.
Yeah.
So with cameras, there's something called the 180 rule for video. So your frame rate should be your shutter speed should be basically double your frame rate. So if you're shooting in like 60. Your frame rate should be 1/125, or your shutter speed should be 1/125. If you're shooting at 30, it should be 1/60, and so on and so forth. So I changed your frame rate on here to 30, and I changed it to 1080p because that's what your input is. So why not just make your camera life a little bit easier? And then I changed the shutter speed, and your ISO was not auto, and ISO is like a digital gain. So if you bring it up too high, then you get like noise, which like grain. Right. So I changed that. I changed the focus, so there's...
What ISO did you set? Do you remember, roughly?
I think like 800.
Okay, cool.
Yours was at auto, so I don't know what it was at.
Well, okay.
But, yeah, so I set it to 1/60 because we're shooting in 30 frames.
It's a studio, so this should always be the lighting, so perfect.
The aperture, which is basically... which is kind of like how much is in focus at any given time. That's like the simple way to put it. There's more science to it. That's like... That I set to like 3.5, so it's a bit more narrow. So we are guaranteed to both be in focus. If I go up here and you're back there, we're still in focus together.
Nice.
And then I changed the ISO just to make sure everything's balanced in exposure.
Okay.
And then I also changed it from camera mode to video mode.
So you did or you didn't shut the autofocus off?
The autofocus is on.
Autofocus is good. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't turn off the.
Yeah, that's why it was confusing at first because it looked like the focus was off, but I think it just changed what it was focusing. Like it lost track of you and it went, I don't know what to do, which is weird because the FX30 is pretty good with faces.
I dial it in. I usually do manual focus when I do like tripod stuff like this.
Right. Yeah.
Like listen, it's whatever. Anyway, so yeah, I saw the camera. I actually had to use this camera on one of my
I want to
trips.
make everything automatic because I'm just me and I'm not you.
Yeah.
If I was you, I would put it on manual because I'd be like, oh, okay, let me change the focus manually.
You have the settings now, so your lighting stays the same. You're good.
Yeah.
But yeah, you basically just learn your exposure
Thanks
triangle.
for that, by the way.
And you're good.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I got free consulting. All I had to do was have Steve on the show. So
There's a 3-minute thing.
hey, man, cheers.
$200.
Oh no, I don't have any money. I think I have to wash dishes now. On my own show, I have to wash dishes.
God, it's such a funny thing.
Yeah, I still can't believe I did that thing with the network. Hey, so by the way, have you heard about all right? So I actually have some tech news in my head.
Hell yeah! Dystopia report. Let's go.
Yeah. I don't have there's nothing on this sheet. It's just scribbles. So one of the big news stories that really fucking drove me crazy, and I put it up on Facebook, and people did not get it. So apparently there was a guy. This is the way the news story was presented, and then we'll talk about the tech. Yeah. So there's a guy with a Lamborghini drove through a bridge.
I saw that.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Let me tell them just in case they haven't seen it.
Bullshit, dude.
So the guy has a stock Lamborghini, a recent model, so it isn't like an old model or something.
I believe the Lamborghini Huracan Performance.
Right, and it's a 50-state car, so like this how it's sold is completely illegal. He drives through an intersection in New York City with a audio detecting an audio decibel detection unit,
sound cameras,
a sound camera, and they write him an $800 ticket, probably because he blipped the throttle on the way out of the tunnel. And by the way, if you have a bike, everybody with a bike and pretty much everyone with a muscle car in the tunnel, because this sounds awesome. And he probably just did it one last time on the way out.
Can't confirm. As a guy at the muscle car and parking garages too.
And this guy's got money, and he's just like, I'm going to fight it because this is wrong. This shouldn't have totally happened.
Though, on top of what you just said, but it starts at 800, and then the second offense is I think 1700, and the third offense is I think like 2400.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane. And the thing is that, do you know actually New York replied to it?
Wait, is the second offense is 3,400? I didn't even read that part.
The second is like 1,700, and the third is like 2,400.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's like
what?
Out here.
New York City, you are terrible. The people who run this place, you are terrible for even considering this.
I've never seen a sound camera outside of Staten Island. I'll just say that.
Okay.
Also, Staten Island, it's not really part of New York City.
Staten Island, we tried. Yeah.
If I can't take a train there, I'm just not part of it.
I wanna not be a part of it.
But yeah, so New York City responded to that.
Staten Island.
I forgot who it was, but a representative from the government responded, and they're basically like, New York City, to drive and live within the 5 boroughs, your car must be under this decibel rating, and because you're not, we are giving you this ticket.
Right.
I want to see what comes out of it because it could set a cool precedent from like the Supreme Court if it does go up to that level.
Right.
Man, that's like. He bought the car, and don't let like certified dealers sell that car. Then
Well, this is the argument, right?
Yeah, it's like my car is upgraded.
The dude's got stock pipes, and by the way, if you don't know about high-end Italian cars and general supercars in general,
exotic cars in general, yeah,
they have titanium pipes in the back of there, which actually are not only an exotic material, which is really expensive, but it's really expensive to build pipes. So, but who cares? Poor millionaire. Who gives a shit? But the real problem isn't him. The problem is the poor schmuck, who's a plumber and who's going into Staten Island to do a job to fix something for somebody in Staten Island, and he's on a shoestring budget. Yeah. His muffler's got a hole in it. He can't afford to replace it, and now he's got an $800 ticket, or what was it, $1,800?
It was $800 to start, yeah.
Yeah, and then a $2,400 ticket because he can't afford. I mean, if you can't afford an $800 ticket. You can't afford an $800 ticket if you can't afford a $300 muffler and exhaust system.
I have like my car.
You're just punishing the poor. You're beating them senseless.
I bought my car with used with an upgraded exhaust. It's called an SLP loudmouth exhaust for those car heads out there, and I drive a Charger. But it's
do you need more?
I'm good. It's gotten to the point where it's like loud. It's really loud to me. Like I just don't necessarily need it that loud all the time. Right. So I'm driving around like road trips. That droning sound kind of like makes you feel like you're going deaf at a point. Like you know what I'm talking about?
Right.
So like so yeah, I was thinking about like downgrading to like the stock exhaust, and that shit is like $600-700. I'm like, I'm not spending that money when I have an upgrade for free.
Right.
So.
Really? Why do you have an upgrade for free again?
The guy just put it on the car.
Yeah. Okay.
He gave me. He put an upgraded exhaust. He put coilovers on it.
Yeah.
He put upgraded 20-inch rims.
Yeah.
And it gave me a spare spoiler and a spare set of tires.
Nice.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it's a pretty good deal.
Car had 58,000 miles on it.
Yeah, so like all right, so here's another aspect of this thing too. If you're really talking about people with money, you're only going to get them on the $800 fine, right? If this guy just didn't decide to fight it, you can definitely modify a titanium exhaust system for $800, and here's how you can do it. And most people are not aware of this. They have they're relatively cheap.
Right?
They have valves, and you can run 2 sets of pipes. And you basically have the valve. You just hit a button inside the cab, and it just turns a little servo, and it thermally isolates the servo from the rest of the exhaust system, and it just flips a handle just like you would for your water pipes.
I think the Lotus has that too, like by default.
And some cars come with them stock now, and you just hit a button. I mean, like the Mustang does it. All the new Mustangs, all the new performance Mustangs do it, and it turns the car into a louder mode. So basically what you can do is you can just run mufflers and you could upgrade the mufflers to a more sound deadening muffler, and you can do another. The point I'm trying to make is if you have money, you just solve this and it goes away. The only people this is really punishing is poor people. And this is one of the problems with fines in general. They're like crimes for poor people. Rich people don't care. They'll just pay the fine. It won't really hurt them. It's like a 0.001% error. But, for the people who I've run, this is a while ago, but I used to have a classic car, like a 60s car. And I was poor. I was barely keeping the thing on the road. So when I did an engine swap because the engine died, right? And now I'm committed to this engine swap. I don't have the money to do it again. So I put an exhaust system on. I couldn't afford to do proper exhaust. So I put a cheapy exhaust system on it. It was loud. It was really loud. And should I have just paid an $800 fine because I drove through the wrong intersection with my poor car?
Did you ever start it up before you put the exhaust on just to hear the sound?
Oh my God, it's so loud. If you've never, it's like a gun. It's it's literally like you're standing next to the header.
There's been a thing going on in Queens. I think the guy got caught, but they were stealing cats off of cars.
Oh yeah. It's rampant everywhere.
And but my girlfriend got hers stolen, and because a catalytic converter basically just it filters the exhaust fumes, so it's more environmentally friendly. It doesn't really do much to your car aside from that, but when you remove the catalytic converter, it's not connected to the exhaust anymore. And they steal it because there's precious metals inside. I don't know why I'm telling people this because then they're going to start stealing cats. But anyway.
Yeah. So catalytic converters either run palladium or platinum inside, and those are both precious metals. They're part of the silver group. So the price of those two particular – it's funny because this is an emissions control. Yeah. But the price of those two particular catalysts – it varies depending on the year, depending on what's more expensive, because the car manufacturers have both available. But mainly in the price of silver, which is crazy, right? And I think it may have flipped at some point, and I'm just getting geeky here, but I think it may have flipped at some point, and now the price of platinum and palladium drive the price of silver, but we might be flipping back the other way, segueing into another. Yes, we're still doing the segue bit. 203 episodes later. Shout out to Isaac.
What did you do for 200?
This is 203.
What did you do for 200?
I don't know what I did for 200. I don't remember. I think it was just the Dystopia report.
Well, you don't go in those numbers anymore. You got to do 256.
Right. 256 is going to be a big one. Of course, I'm going to do the base 2 numbers is a big deal. Yeah. But yeah, a segue to I forgot what my segue was about. Oh no!
Silver.
Silver. Yes, thank you. So Samsung apparently has reported that they have discovered a new battery technology, lithium-ion based, but it also uses quite a bit of silver, and it's a lot more stable and it's a lot more dense, energy-wise, and a lot more efficient. But so it requires about, I think they said it was 2 kilograms of silver per typical car, but they're talking about 1,000-mile ranges for electric cars if this actually comes to fruition. So now Samsung is
rented an electric car when I was in Texas.
Samsung is big enough for vaporware, but who knows? It might be interesting if this actually happens. So kind of good news on the tech front. What happened with the electric car in Texas?
No, I just rented one. It was pretty cool. Mileage was only like 270, I think, and it took like 8 hours to charge because I was using like a speed charger at my Airbnb.
Really?
But like, yeah, they're weird. Like, because electric cars, both to me, feel cheap but also fun.
Right.
Like I've never been inside an electric car where I'm like, this interior is luxurious. Have you?
They're always more interested in making you think you're in the next Tron sequel.
Yeah, like the screens or whatever, but if I have to go through menus to get my windshield wipers, that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
I like physical buttons sometimes, especially for changing volume.
Oh, yeah. So there's a stand. I mean, I've mentioned this on my show before, but there's a standard for physical buttons in airplanes. It's required that not only the buttons have a certain layout, but they have certain braille on them, so that you don't have to look at the buttons because you're flying a plane. You're going to fly your plane into a building while you're landing it because you had to look at the screen to find out where the button was.
Like, do you know how many times I feel just awful looking away just to see like a song that I'm listening to? But yeah, so like the car had this cool feature where if your cabin got really loud, it would detect it and it would change the volume of the music to compensate.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like relatively the same volume proportionally speaking, like throughout your drive. So that was cool, but I turned it off very fast. But there's also like it speeds up very fast. Like they accelerate very quickly, but I can't describe it. The feeling of an electric car accelerating feels so much worse than gas. Am I wrong?
I mean, I've sat in one, but I have not driven one. So
they are stupid fast. Like I think was a Tesla Plaid Roadster goes like 0 to 60 in 2.3 seconds.
Right.
Like,
which, by the way, was not really possible with rear-wheel drive cars because they were limited by 2.7 seconds because that's the speed of gravity.
Yeah.
So what happens when you hit the accelerator? You do a wheelie.
Yeah.
You can't go faster than that unless you have a wheelie bar.
My car feels really fast. I think it's like 5.6, 5.7.
Yeah.
So like,
that's fast.
Yeah, it's like really good. But
I've got a good car.
No, but
Steve's muscle car.
But like the Teslas and stuff like that, and like I drove a Hyundai. I forgot the name model of it, but it was like I call it like a Hyundai Kona or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or Kona, but it was a cool car. I would never buy it, obviously, but and there's cool things about it. It just felt like gimmicky to me. It kind of felt like the experience of driving like an iPhone 4. It was like really weird.
Well, this is one of the things that people have been complaining about is that it's just because there's no gears, right? I mean, there was the original Tesla.
That's probably it. Yeah, you don't feel it shifting gears. So
the original Tesla Roadster had gears, and because they couldn't figure out a better way to do it at the time.
Like one long gear.
After that, all the Teslas and all the other electric cars, maybe excepting one or two, have not had gears. It's all just they just make motors that can spin fast enough to move the vehicle forward. And I mean, I don't know if there's any there might be gears between the motor and the wheels, but it's the same gear ratio the whole time because they have so much torque. It doesn't matter that you don't get bogged down because there's a low torque spot. But yeah, I also there's another problem too.
I'm probably be talking to you about cars. That's just so weird to me.
Why?
I never was really into cars for a long time.
Yeah, well then, then you got a muscle car.
I had to. Yeah.
Is it doing well?
No.
Oh no. Well, how many miles are on it first before you bad mouth it?
116.
Okay, so you put some miles on it. They don't. Cars don't usually last past 150, so 180.
Thanks.
Well, no, this is how they are. Don't blame me.
I had the car for 4 years, and I put about 60,000 miles on it for reference.
Okay.
So I think that's not insane, but it's a lot. Like I drive a lot.
Yeah, you're busy.
But yeah, so my thermostat just went bad.
Oh no.
I was driving on the highway, my car started overheating, and I went to go replace the coolant because there was like a pinhole leak somewhere at some point, and the coolant was full. I'm like, fuck. So then I called Geico Road Assistance, and I got towed to like a shop. Terrible time. The guy who driving the tow truck was like trying to tell me that like, and yeah, I've been wanting to tell you about this. He told me that like, oh, you like these are the shops, they buy shitty coolant. They buy stuff. It's with water. Can you believe it? They water it down, and I'm like, yeah. And then he's like, I got to put like the shop I go to, and in my vehicles, I put the whole stuff like with the concentrate. He's like, yeah, put the concentrate in there, and I'm like, but you need water, so there's heat diffusion. That's how that works. And he's like, I just put a little bit of water to top it off.
Right.
And I'm like, what the fuck's wrong with this guy? Like, I wouldn't trust.
Well, if it's 50-50 that they sell, so normally there is some water and coolant.
I buy 50-50 because it just makes my life easier, so I don't have to mix it myself. I'm good, thank you. Okay. I can always take more.
Okay. Yeah. So normally they do blend 50 water, and they used to sell coolant in pure form. And what I mean by pure is the right ratio for you to do 50-50 with water.
Yeah.
Now you get different ratios. You got to look at the bottle.
Yeah.
But there usually is some water in there. You could actually just run straight water in your engine. The problem is, of course, if it ever gets to 31 degrees and the car's sitting for too long, you can pop your freeze plugs out and have to do engine work. So if you're lucky, if you're not, it could damage the engine. So,
bro, that guy was just talking my ear off about that shit, and I'm like, bro, can you just get me to this place? Like, thankfully, like in New York City,
I got worse news for you. I don't know what you paid for the thermostat, but thermostats are like $4.
No, I paid for the service more than anything.
Yeah.
Also, I got a GM thermostat. Like,
okay. Well,
GM,
that's true.
Like,
all right, so that would be like $12.
Yeah.
You know,
it's not that I paid for the service. The whole service was, I think, maybe $200 to $300, something like that. It wasn't terrible.
Okay. Well, considering lost coolant, doing the flush, I
just didn't care to do a whole coolant flush.
Yeah.
And I didn't have the means to like dispose of it and everything, and that would just be a whole day like lost to work. Like,
yeah, that's another. And there's also risk too when you work on your own vehicle, because like if that's your primary vehicle, you know, like this is something like if you're in the sticks and you have multiple vehicles, you might not be thinking about. But if you're in New York, you tend to have limited parkings. You tend to have one, maybe tops two vehicles. And if it's one vehicle and you lose that vehicle because you're working on it, you can't even go to the store to get parts for it, much less, live your life.
My car broke down on the Grand Central. I don't know if you probably know. A Grand Central by around exit, I think, 21.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to just walk off the highway, like across the highway because there's traffic. Mm-hmm. And I walked right to an Advanced Auto Parts.
Walked across the highway?
Coolant. Yeah. I got the coolant, go watch back on the highway because I broke down on the highway.
Did people just crash right into stuff avoiding you?
No, it was so much traffic, it didn't matter.
Really?
Yeah, so I just went and bought my coolant and then went back. It was like a 5-minute walk.
Did you squeeze anyone's windshield on the way through? You sell anyone fruit?
Bro, I'm not in Maryland. We're good.
All right, cool. Or Oregon.
Yeah, so I just bought my coolant and went back. But most people aren't that fortunate. I know my girlfriend's mom's apartment is right by an AutoZone, and the AutoZone right outside of it has the best hot dog stand. So that's always like a motivator to go there.
Right.
Or like the other AutoZone that she go to. There's a guy who's outside of there.
Just sticking a switchblade right in your tires. I need a good hot dog.
Dude, this guy has a car mechanic shop out of a mini school bus. He literally bought a school bus. He fitted it with all the tools and everything he needs. And he pulls up to the AutoZone, and they do repairs outside of that AutoZone. They say to people like, hey, go.
That's very New York. Yeah, that's old school New York.
Yeah, there's like, hey, go buy your parts here. I have a discount if you want to use it because I spent so much money in AutoZone. I'll give you the warranty. It's a lifetime warranty on your parts, and I'll just charge you for labor.
Wow.
And it's really good, really smart. And so that's really interesting too. It's just kind of like, it's really funny just seeing him crank on the side of AutoZone in that school bus.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's funny. Some auto parts stores will have rules about you not being allowed to repair in the parking lot. I've always been like, that's kind of bullshit because
business.
Well, you know what? I'm like that actually makes. I'm not saying I'm all for school bus guy forever. But, I kind of get it a little more now with that, because if that guy, same thing, if he runs into a situation where he can't fix something, now someone's car is disabled in their parking lot. So I can see why they might be.
I guess he has other people who works with him. Speak English, but very, very New York.
Well, I guess as long as he knows a flatbed tow truck, whatever, you can just always get it out of there.
Yeah, but it was a good experience. The only thing is, I like going to actual mechanics because of it's not saying he's not an actual mechanic, like licensed mechanics with dealers and stuff like that.
Right.
First of all, they have something to lose if they do a bad job.
Right.
And for example, this guy, I think he forgot to take a piece off my rotors. I got my brakes and rotors on by this guy too. Mm-hmm. And my car was just squeaking like crazy. Mm-hmm. So I took it back to get fixed, and he's fixed it, no problem.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry about it. Yeah. And he even also
sometimes brakes just do that. They might not have done anything wrong.
No, I got ceramic brake pads.
Okay.
And they broke it in for me too.
Oh, that's cool.
Awesome, yeah. For those of you who don't know, breaking that shit in is a pain in the ass.
Yeah. And you can go full send right off the bat instead of having to wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those things are so good.
So we have a few comments. I didn't want to miss them. It's been a while since they came in. And by the way, thanks for everybody tuning in. I see the numbers are still going up. So welcome. Steve is very popular. I should have known. Of course he's popular. Why does everybody love Steve? I want them to love Steve.
Why does everybody hate Chris?
So we got looking for a camera to take nature pictures and for making simple videos that could fit into my pocketbook. What do you recommend for around $700 to $800? So some kind of small,
all right, so for
like
cameras,
a prosumer. Knowing her, it's prosumer.
just get like a point and shoot. Like, don't get something with an interchangeable lens because that's already going to drive the cost up. 700 if you're talking just for the body with no lens, then yeah, there's a bunch of options, but none of which are just going to fit in your like bag. Especially depends how big your bag is, but like, yeah, just get like a point and shoot like Sony camera or something like that, and you could be good.
So I
Especially if
love
you're doing like nature. If you're just doing like nature videos and videos of like your family and stuff like that, where you don't care about having like cinema quality with like log and color grading and stuff like that,
right.
then like yeah, just get that. It's going to be mostly good when you have to take it off.
Do you use color grading a lot?
For photos, every photo I ever edit gets colored.
Oh, okay.
For video, most of the time. There's very few times where if I just need to get a clip out there and it needs to look like an iPhone clip, I won't color grade it. But usually I have my whole color grade tree in Resolve that like...
Right. I guess in a way, iPhone's its own color grade.
Well, I don't like the way iPhones look, actually. Because the way they make skin tones look weird because there's kind of like orangey the way they do. And they do artificial smoothing on it. It kind of looks like it's hovering like above your body almost.
So I'm not a wizard with cameras, but I will tell you one thing. During my extensive search of cheapness, I did notice that the camera...
My girlfriend's watching the show. She said there's a new rule in Home Depots where you aren't allowed to stand in the parking lot and solicit work.
And do what?
And solicit work.
So
you know, like when you're like driving through Home Depot?
That's funny. That's actually a big problem in the town we're in right now.
They have you have like either like immigrants or whatever. Like inside just trying to get.
Is this a New York rule?
I think it's a Home Depot rule.
What?
I think it's just a Home Depot rule.
Home Depot rule. Oh, it's a rule of the company.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, that's so different. I can't wait to check it out and see if they're actually enforcing it.
That sucks because
it does suck, but you know.
But those people aren't doing anything wrong, dude.
Well, you know, like all right. Like I'll say it's interesting. So I had an idea about politics, and I was thinking about politics.
Boy, we're at that part of the show. So generally speaking, we're
show,
not even an hour two yet.
To date, no, we're an hour and a half in. I think I don't even know. It's so confusing.
It says in the bottom of OBS.
Yeah. Where's it say?
Bottom right.
We're 1 hour and 20 minutes, 1 minute in.
God damn.
So we're already done a full show by a lot of people's standards. But anyway.
But can I be your typical guest for a second?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Wow, that went by so fast.
Yeah, I know how many people said that to me. You know what? Thank you. I'm flattered.
I said, don't hit the table like this. Do you hear why? People on you guests.
I can see it on the mixing board. It's doing a dance right now. It's the dance of the LEDs.
I try to put things down quietly. I'm just kind of used to it.
We may be drinking. This could be some of the reason you're experiencing these technical difficulties in our brains. All right. So the really quick version is, it's a non-negligible financial effect for local police forces. So just I'm not like, yay, cops are boo, cops are they don't enforce laws and they get stuck with whatever their bosses tell them to enforce.
Yeah, they're just constables on patrol.
Right, but I mean, there's frequently all right, I'm thinking of a particular Home Depot. There's frequently 1 to 3 cop cars on site all the time to deal with all the people waiting in the parking lot to get work. So
how many people are there?
There's a lot of people.
Damn.
So so I understand that. On the other hand, obviously they're providing a service because they wouldn't even bother trying if people weren't picking them up.
I would say there's an issue if Home Depot had their own people that they would rent out.
Well, this seems like a solvable problem. So this is like an Uber moment or a Lyft moment.
Well, there's Angie's List.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's true. But I mean, but also at the same time, you kind of want to physically. It's almost like Instagram, right? You're looking for okay, I could see it with her. I could see what's going on with him. You can see. You look at a guy comes out and he looks like he's, whoa. You're like, all right, yeah, he could dig a hole. Right? You don't need to know anything about him. You already know. He might be lazy,
his hands might not
but
work.
he can do it. He can do it.
Just not even have hands, but you're just so busy looking at his biceps.
Right. You're like, okay, yeah, he could do physical labor. And so there's that, but that seems like a solvable problem. I don't know. So I'm kind of on the fence about it. God,
it's so funny.
So
Home Depot, I replaced my home sink for the first time.
Really?
Way easier than I thought.
Yeah.
I never thought it'd be that easy. I got like a moan.
This
like
freaking podcast is going down the drain.
Yeah. Take a shot for everybody.
Please share your dad jokes. I have more to say to Ariel, but I'm gonna let him go. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's also just response to Ariel. Also, now I think about it, iPhones are just good options too, because they're just really good. Anyway,
phones aren't bad, but they have problems with they have problems with things that are normally solved by lenses. So I'll get.
Well, they have attachable lens cases and stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, what I'm trying to say is that I replaced it to the sink, and like there's a pull-out faucet thing onto the side where you can do the sprayer thing, and I replaced those, and it was really easy, and I was really proud of myself. So.
All right, good job, man.
Cool. I didn't have to. I went on Angie's list. The reason I'm saying is
you and Einstein, amateur plumbers.
I went on Angie's list to hire a plumber to do it because I'm paying rent, so like I don't have to pay out of pocket for it. It just covers. It comes out of my rent.
Mm-hmm.
But they I was getting quotes for like almost $300 or whatever, and I'm just like, bro, I could just do this myself.
Mm-hmm.
So then I just took the leap because I'm like, I don't want to wait till Monday to get a new sink or something like that. So I just fucking installed it, and it works great.
Mm-hmm.
And I have one of those sinks where like the washing machine connects to it.
Well, you know, in a lot of ways, this is part of what got me into fixing things. Is that I would break shit because I'm, look at me.
Yeah.
And I'm, oh crap, I broke it. And like, and I just didn't want to wait to fix it.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me just see if I can fix it, or I couldn't afford to fix it. And so my quick answer to you is, I do have a hot tip. If you want to go Canon, I don't know. Canon's had a lot of problems with proprietary lenses, and I was originally looking Canons when I got talked into the Sony.
Only the R series.
Right. So, well, yeah, but that's almost all the new. As the cameras come out, it's just that.
There's different lines.
So there's two separate lines of lenses in Canon, and I'm not sure if this is the old line or the new line, but the 200 Canon is a normal camera which has kind of crappy 4K video, but should take good 1080p video. Like, it shouldn't be too choppy.
In their pocketbook.
Well, but no, it will.
With
it's actually pretty. Yeah, it comes with a kit lens that's pretty small, and that way you can use normal lenses, which make it enormous, or semi big, but the kit lens is pretty good.
I know that. So Canon has a camera.
This is a few $100. That's the point.
So the R series, the issue with it is that, yeah, like you said, it's proprietary lenses. However, buy an adapter, and then you can adapt any lens that works on a Canon mount to it.
Right. Well, the problem is you lose some of. So there's what people may not realize about lenses now is there's actually a number of contacts on whatever manufacturer that communicate with the lens. And in the case of autofocus, for instance, it powers it and sends it commands to zoom in, zoom out. And
so works the autofocus too.
Right. So sometimes, it's kind of hit or miss. It depends on the lens. It depends on the brand. So that's the quick answer. That's my quick amateur answer. So I didn't know.
Canon has a line called the M50. I don't know if they updated it since then. And the M50 is like this big. It's really small, and you can buy a really small lens for it too. Mm-hmm. It's just not like a point and shoot is so small, and they're usually pretty good for most people that are like just consumers.
Right.
But like also Sony makes a vlogger camera now, where it has like a built-in like a hot shoe attachment, so you could attach a microphone without connecting a cable.
Right.
Because the connection's on the actual pins.
Right.
And then you have and then the screen flips down and everything like that. It's really cool.
Which is interesting because like the higher end Sonys, you actually have to plug it into. It doesn't go through the hot shoe.
No, not the new ones.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the new ones go through the hot shoe.
I didn't know that.
It's really cool. So I think your camera supports the hot shoe.
I think it does too, but now that you say that, because I remember they have a special microphone and flash mount bracket. But I don't know. I didn't look into it because I was like, I don't really need that. I'm gonna run a mixing board. I have that. I was running this mixing board at Area 22. I brought it in. I remember you actually were able to work with this. So
yeah, no, we daisy chained it. I remember that.
Yeah.
We had to daisy chain that so we could have 8 inputs for one of your stupid fucking panels.
Yeah. My stupid fucking panels. Yeah,
they're not stupid. It's just
no, they were stupid.
No, but having 8 people.
It's fun.
Was wild.
It's crazy.
We had at the time, because we didn't use our new board yet, we only had a 4-person limit.
Right.
So like you always wanted to have a 5th person.
Right. Well, we needed you to jump in too. Well, you just yelled. You just yelled at us. Steve yelled at us.
Voice. I usually do the podcast in the couch.
He's his dad. He uses his grown-up voice. Hey, no.
Hey, hey, listen.
So I also have another comment. Oh man, my phone. I was gonna be all slick and going. No, it just locked. Now I'm gonna type my password.
Oh no.
First world problems. All right, so what? Who is that? The Hasselblads. Do you know what that means?
Hasselblad are like high-end cameras. They actually use them to photograph.
Oh. I got a
Andromeda.
comment saying I work with the Hasselblads in photo school. So I used to shoot concerts and live shows with my Nikon FE. Two always used to use manual focus, no flash. So obviously no flash, but yeah.
Big concerts you can't use flash now.
Right. It wouldn't do anything.
No, it would. It works really well. It's just that it blinds the artist and the fans.
And the fans. Oh, okay.
So the venues have a no flash policy.
Oh, is that why you get hurt in the mosh pit? Is that how your hand got broken? I'm just kidding.
No, the typical rule if you're photographing a show is the first 3 songs no flash. That's what they tell you.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
After the first 3 songs, either you have to put away your camera.
Why the first 3 songs? That's such a strange rule.
They just don't want you like taking.
I was thinking just never.
They don't want you taking the view from the audience.
Oh.
So
okay.
Because you're in what's called a photo pit, which is the gap between the stage and the barricade where the audience is.
By the way, if you haven't, is there someplace that people can check out your musical photography? Is there you have a website?
SteveMayVisuals.com.
Yeah. I mean, like
I built it myself.
You've got some amazing shots of like great lighting, people mid-air, strange angles you would never imagine. I
remember you got a video of me climbing up the PA speaker to get photos of Mike Portnoy.
Right. Getting full monkey time on Mike Portnoy. I wonder if he was nervous. Like, who's the fucking guy in the rafters? Is that an assassin?
That's some amazing.
Is that a ninja?
That was like one of my favorite shows to photograph. I think that was like 3 years ago.
He's crazy talented, man.
But so like they have that rule, and it's pretty cool. But anyway, what else were you saying?
All right. Anyway, so we got another set of comments. My Mini Cooper has a button to make it louder and have flames come out of the pipes. What? I don't know if I buy that.
It's a Hot Wheel. That's why.
You have a Mini Cooper, and you put a button on it to make flames come out of the button. What?
They put NOS in it. The energy drink though, not the actual not the actual system.
Okay, and that was it for the comments on here. Nothing about cars. So, okay. Please, don't be afraid to comment. I will read your crazy ass insane ideas out live on the air. So, how about your music career, man? What's going on? Is anything going on with that, or are you singing right now? Or
yeah, so I've actually been working on some musical projects that I'm behind the scenes right now. But the stuff with Elisions has been so chaotic because me and my bandmate we're kind of waiting on each other for things.
Mm-hmm.
So but we wanted to put out a video that I pretty much nearly finished a few years ago, and we want to put that out, and to put that out, I want to have the other singles ready, and we want to have a rollout strategy and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just been I'm waiting on a mix, and then he's waiting on a revision from me, and it's just back and forth. So it's there's that. But in the meantime, I'm trying to work on a local project and start something up there. So I have a few I have a few interesting leads on that, so I'm pretty excited about that.
So in case you don't know, his band Elisions is actually international. There's people in multiple countries in your band. Yeah,
so multiple states, and a lot of them are in France right now, actually.
Okay. And they're really good.
They're very talented. Yeah, they're very talented people. I'm really grateful to be around them and to work with them. But yeah, so I'm I do vocals. I do those scary vocals, as people call them.
I saw Nigel get scared a few times of that.
Dude, when people call it scary music, I don't get how much of a wuss are you to get scared by music like that? But I don't know. Yeah, so I do those kinds of vocals.
What's dirty?
Yeah, it's distortion.
They don't want to admit they're dirty. Everybody's dirty. It's some people are their whole strategy is I'm not going to admit I'm dirty, and then they hear your vocals and they're oh God, that reminded me I'm dirty. What if someone finds out?
Yeah, I think the whole thing too is that you're just kind of making noises, but whatever. So yeah, I would do a lot of that, and I'm kind of looking at other projects and stuff, and looking at doing local shows and things, because I just kind of want to get more active in performing again. I kind of miss it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm now documenting people performing. I want to get back on stage.
Right.
So yeah, that's where I'm sitting right now. And plus, my friends, shout out to a couple of people. My friends in the band called Moonfall put out an incredible EP called The Hallucination of Summer.
Okay.
And that just dropped about a week or two ago.
All right.
And they're releasing an EP for each season, evidently, a series of EPs starting with Hallucination.
Well, the Vivaldi? I mean.
So this is the Hallucination of Summer, and it has actually the song "Yell," the header track on it.
Yeah.
I'm on it.
Okay.
I'm sample doing Mongolian throat singing and screams
as
a sample.
Whoa. That's it. That's that stuff, right?
Oh yeah, like that.
Yeah, awesome, man. That's so cool.
Whatever.
There's nothing more manly than a Mongolian with like a fully automatic assault rifle and some sort of big cat, you know, in the snowy mountains.
Alcohol's
you don't want to see that. You don't want to piss that guy off.
But yeah, no. When I don't have alcohol in my system, I could do it a bit more convincingly. But anyway.
No, that was good.
So thank you. So yeah, I'm on that. I'm on the track for that. I have this pen, like I'm about to write on this this whiteboard with the pen.
There you go. Who cares about my notes? There's no script, people. Like, I'm trying this. Let me know what you think. I'm like just doing this unscripted. I'm trying to like remember tech news stories as they come to mind.
Yeah.
I'm having a good time with it, but I don't know if you are. So I want to make sure that we're all on the same page. And of course, there's a little booze mixed in too. So you know.
But yeah, so like I want to support them because they're doing a really good job. My friends in the band called Emensia, EMENSIA, is they're post-hardcore.
Okay.
And my friends in Moonfall, they make like anime opening and closing music almost. It's really cool.
All right, hold on a second. So I think more people than not know what hardcore is. I don't think most people know what post-hardcore is.
Almost pop punk. It's kind of like in that realm. It's kind of
wow. Okay.
It's like in the realm of
there's a post-punk too.
Yeah, there is. That's very different.
Yeah.
That's like Cult of Luna and stuff like that. They're like in the realm of like Red Jumpsuit Apparatus or Day to Remember, those kinds of bands.
Okay.
So like they're in that area. In fact, they work with the vocalist and producer for Red Jumpsuit Apparatus for their music.
Okay.
So that's really cool. I don't know if you know them. They did the song Face Down. They're really big for that in 2005. But yeah. So anyway, they work with them and their music is really really good too. And I actually shot a music video for a song on that album called "Stay Alive," and that was like a fun video because we turned a garage into like a light lit up set. So we had like the garage. It was like a blue garage. We call it Emensia Blue.
He just keeps coming back to photography. That's
it was cool though. Because we took it. We had sound reactive lights on top of all the guitar heads and cabinets.
Yeah.
And by the drum kit, and then we had my LED panels in the corner, and we lit up the room to be just like cyan, and then we filled it with smoke.
Wow.
And we had like the microphone hanging from like the mechanism that opens and closes the garage door, so it was like hanging from the top. So that was really cool.
That is cool.
And there's a shot for the video that we did where like I took the camera, I was filming the band, and then I connected the camera to OBS, which that output to the projector. So then the projection of the band that I was filming in real time kept projecting over them. So
what?
The projection of themselves in real time were on top of the band. That was so cool.
Oh wow! So it was like the audience is just hallucinating on the band.
Yeah, it was really, and there's like bubbles flying around and shit too. It was really cool.
Bubbles.
But that was a really fun video. It was just those two scenes really. And
that sounds amazing.
Yeah,
that sounds amazing. Did you do the editing on that too, or
I did all that stuff.
Okay.
And there's like very minimal revisions if anything, and like that was a really fun video to work on. But yeah, so that EP they're working on it. It's titled Summer Sleep. Also seasonal, but that's not I think the intention of this one.
Okay.
It's just happening. They're planning to have it come out in the summer. We're looking very good considering that they're only 2 singles deep. But yeah, so their next single they're working on, but it's in really really solid material, and they put on a really good show. Like Ian is an incredible singer, and like all the members of the band really do like a really.
Are they
good job.
completely local or?
They're from Queens.
Queens. Okay, cool.
So they actually like my friend.
Dude, send me a link. I definitely want to check them out.
Yeah, no, they're really good, and they actually one of the members transformed their house in the basement so 2 of the members can live at the house with them.
Oh, that's cool.
One of the members moved to Jersey and had a kid. We don't talk about that, but then there's another member who lives like a few minutes away.
He's dead to us.
He's such a cool dude. They're like he's a cool dude, and he has like a pretty like awesome life. But yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just like supporting local artists because that doesn't happen as much anymore. You know, like local artists don't get the like even look at like Resistor. Remember like when like they came on and they were, like maybe had a few hundred listeners and like you have the split EP right there back when, like I was on that video forever ago.
Yeah. It's still sitting in my hall of trophies over there.
Yeah, and like they're such good people too, and they've had almost a full lineup change since then.
Right.
Like but now they're doing really well and they're working with really good like producers and stuff like that, and I'm just really happy for them being successful too.
Yeah.
Because now they're like on tour.
I haven't seen them in a while. I'm kind of guilty. I feel bad about that. I just saw
them a week or two ago. Probably
How are they?
Until next year. They're really good.
Where were they?
They were at Massapequa with VFW.
Okay.
But yeah, and the $5 drinks.
Nice.
VFWs are great because you have cheap. You have cheap alcohol,
Sorry, I'm picturing old guys in those hats. The newspaper hats.
This one guy at the show is like, I love VFWs. Beers are cheap, and you could smoke inside. And he just lit up a cigarette. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I kind of love it too.
There's a sign on the door that said, "What happens in the VFW stays in the VFW."
Wow.
So.
It's your own personal Vegas.
Your own personal racist hall. Yeah. It was a very good place, and actually the bartender there was really sweet too. She was really nice. She like gave me a free drink because I was just buying a lot from her.
Aha! The truth comes out about the free drinks. I knew that was the right
They had
question
a chicken place work the event too. It's called Hot Chicken Mama from, I forgot where. It's like from someplace east Long Island. And,
Really?
They had a stand where they were selling crunch wraps and not crunch wraps, but like snack wraps and corn nuggets. And it's like Nashville style chicken, so it's like powdered. You know the difference?
No.
Nashville style like spicy chicken. It's not saucy. They use like a powdered seasoning, so it's a dry rub.
Okay.
To make it spicy on top of.
I love dry rubs.
And
in general, I love it, especially in beef, but I love dry rubs.
But then the sandwich also has pickles, cabbage, and like a special sauce on it. It was really good, and they're like $7 a pop. They're awesome.
What is happening right now?
They're really good.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I'll send you the place.
I get all this by going to a Resistor show?
Yeah, it was really good. It's called Hot Chicken Mama, if you want to go there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just giving everybody business. I love helping people.
No, that's great. I mean, I'm down for it too. And actually, that's one of the reasons I'm trying to give you a shout out, both for your photography and for your band. Am I missing something? Is there some other project that you're working on that we should know about?
Oh, no, man, my life's chaos. Shout out to my dog, Kaiser.
Yeah, your dog Kaiser. So you got the Kaiser project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I call him Kaiju.
Okay.
Kaiju Kaizo-kun. Yeah, so shout out to him. He's probably chewing on my girlfriend's feet right now.
Right. Is he barking like crazy or?
He's very anxious.
He's very anxious.
He's very reactive.
Well, queens will do that to a dog.
That was before.
I have one of those. I have a anxious queen's dog, so that's how I understand.
Yeah, we're trying to take care of that. And then there's I don't know what else there is to shout out. Like I said, I think Moonfall's really worth checking out. Just even as a band, they're really, really solid. And they put so much work into their music.
Really?
Like it's insane. We woke up at they wanted to do a visualizer for one of their songs, and it was called Nonsense, and it's basically an anime opening. It's like very high energy. And has all those kind of like borrowed chords and stuff like that you expect from it, and those like that kind of progression.
Right.
And we woke up at like 6 a.m., went to the park, and we just ran, following one of the members who was just going for a run, and we were just filming her run for like minutes on end, and then just like editing that together in a video.
I mean, like a lot of harder music, although occasionally happy music, but usually a lot of harder music. That's exactly what I do to it. I exercise to it.
Yeah, no, same. It was like I don't even know what my gym playlist consists of anymore, because it's just like I started putting like Panic at the Disco on there, and I started going down from there.
I gotta say, like I actually want to say this on camera just because it's gonna motivate me. I've actually gotten really out of shape, so I know you're probably like. Steve's too kind; he would never notice. But like,
I don't know. That's kind of perception. Should I roll for it?
Yeah. I mean, well, now that I said it, it's out there, so it's fair game. But like I at one point, like I lost a bunch of weight when I was at one point I was at 206. I'm actually all the way up to 261, and I've been under 260, and I was fine with it as long as I was under 260, and I just breached it today, I think, and I'm like. What is going on? So it's time for me. I'm actually going to go, I think, for new lows, which is, like borderline too light for me. Like 206 is really like, it's close to the floor, but I think I can hit 200. So I'm going to try to get closer to 200.
Do you know what it is? Is that like, I stopped caring.
And then I'll come back around,
I stopped caring about the number, more about what I see in the mirror. So I actually.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, I look way better. I even look better, I think, than I looked at 260 on the way down.
Yeah.
What
I was about to say is like right now I weigh the same amount as I did when I first started losing weight when we knew each other.
Yeah.
I weigh the same.
Yeah.
I'm at 175 right now.
Yeah, I mean Steve's totally hot, I mean he was okay. He was good, but he wasn't hot. Now he's hot.
A fan here, so it's helping out.
Yeah, it's true. We're cooling off. Now we're cool.
No, but my
be cool with us, people.
I started building muscle, and that was like the difference too.
Mm-hmm.
But I've learned that you can't just trust what the scale says. You have to look in the mirror, do measurements, and just see if you're content with yourself.
Oh, I'm all over the metrics.
I was getting really close. I was about 16 or 17% body fat at my lowest.
Mm-hmm.
So close enough where you could almost see ab definition, but not quite there. And I was miserable. I was eating maybe 1,700 calories a day.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's not much for me, someone who really enjoys like to eat and stuff like that and who enjoys to cook.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went back up like 10, 15 pounds, and I was way happier. Like maintaining that low body fat percentage is so difficult. It's really, really hard.
Yeah,
well, your body just is more comfortable maintaining at a higher temperature.
So actually, I didn't have that as a goal. So I had this very specific goal, which was
challenge?
I think I've succeeded actually.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I was going for the 6-pack, which I think I got. I have pictures of I have pictures of the 6-pack. I didn't share them because they're just too sexy for you. I'm sorry, but You can request them, but I don't know if I'm going to give them. Anyway, no one else would give their six-packs the six-packs pictures for the six-packs challenge. So I was like, I want to keep mine. You can't see them.
When I hit mine.
Yeah, you look good. I didn't want to out you. Things get crazy, right? All of a sudden you're a celebrity because you got a six-pack.
No, I got really close, and I think I got the definition there. I didn't get quite the very visible six-pack kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was more kind of if I was really lean and I just chose to didn't drink water that day or whatever, it was more visible. And then I kind of just I'm just I want to just enjoy eating some things more. I want to go to that taco truck. I want to eat that Mission sandwich, which by the way, plug them too. They're really good.
So interesting. It's between 220 and 240s where I got my six-pack pictures.
Yeah.
When I was super skinny, I didn't. It almost I lost a little definition. So there's definitely a lower limit.
Yeah, you need to do what you're happy with, because you also need to take into account why are you losing weight? Are you losing weight to be healthy, to be aesthetically pleasing, or to be whatever goal you have? And when people don't tell you when you start working out is you get really bad body dysmorphia.
Mm-hmm.
There's literally an ongoing joke where you look in the mirror and it's today, am I nothing or am I God? That's the joke. Because
yeah, I experienced that. I see that.
Yeah, and you're and you don't know how you're going to perform that day. Sometimes if you do a bad lift at the gym, it'll ruin your entire day. I know that's certainly the case for me.
Right.
I know I was building up.
You wake up and I'm going to break a record today, and you don't. And you're like, fuck, I'm a piece of shit.
So to me it was weird. So I got to 225 on bench press, which is a 2-plate lift, and that was my goal because it was literally adding on the plate. And I got there, and I remember I was so pissed off when I couldn't lift it that time. And I came back, and then I lifted it for 1 rep, and then I'm like, oh, that's disappointing on how easy that was. And it's just there was no.
You're never satisfied, Steve.
Yeah, and then now I kind of just have different goals, and now my goal is just I just want to get stronger.
Yeah.
I was going for for what's called hypertrophy, which is for muscle size, and I just want to be stronger. I want to have more general strength.
Right.
It was really cool when I took my dog upstate and he was starting to get really reactive, and I was able to just pick him up and throw him over my shoulder. This big 75-pound German Shepherd. Just threw him over my shoulder.
So everybody's got to make a different plan based on their body type.
Yeah.
For me, it's mostly aerobic because I build muscle really easy. It gets dumb. I actually now I'm older, so it's not as easy when I was younger, but I can actually build muscle pretty easy. But the thing is, it doesn't really help you if you have a ton of muscle and you can't move and you can't breathe and your cardio is bad
anymore.
You can't.
It's hard for me to reach the center of my back.
You can't reach the center.
It's hard for me to get to the center of my back just because of just the way my shoulders are now developed and everything.
So here's the weird thing: even though I have all that muscle, I'm always been really check this out. I can't believe I'm doing this. This is so juvenile. But check this out. I can actually, if I can. Yep. There we go.
I used to be able to do that. I can't do that anymore.
Yep. So in case you can't see it, I can lock my hands. But I think that has to do with why I can build muscle. But the problem is I also have a high fat content naturally.
Yeah.
So if I'm sedentary, and I'm a geek, so I sit behind desks and I work at computers. If I do nothing, I will be quite obese in 5 years.
Yeah, I think
I was jogging up until about a month ago. I just took a break.
Dude,
but
I work at my desk or on my bed actually all day. That's usually what I do.
Right. Well, is the bulk of your job editing or is it shooting?
You shoot for a day and you usually edit for a couple. That's
okay.
Kind of how it is. Okay. So I have a dog now, so I walk him 3 times a day, and I usually take him for an hour walk, 45 minutes to an hour for each walk.
Oh, that's great.
So I do about almost 2 hours of cardio every day.
That'll keep you maintained.
Yeah, but
it won't break any new ground, but it'll maintain you.
Yeah, so I'll do that in addition to weightlifting.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll go to the gym usually in the morning. I've been taking a break recently. I just kind of been in a different headspace where I need to focus on work.
Yeah, I know about that.
but when I worked at the Cowboys Stadium, that was nuts. The walk from the tour bus to the green room was 17 minutes.
Wow.
And then the walk.
You got your workouts just going back and forth.
The green room was actually the Cowboys dressing room.
Really?
So the showers are not really nice, and
was it literally their lockers? Yeah, wow, that's crazy.
I took a video. I'll show it to you later.
Okay.
And then there's also, from the green room to the stage, you're walking across a football field to get there. And which way the football field?
Oh, so you're cutting directly across the field too. So you're not even taking the long way around.
No, you're going straight through the field because that's where the audience is.
Right.
GA. And funny enough, football fields are smaller than you think. 100 yards isn't as big as you'd expect.
Right.
But so you're going. I got to go all the way across that to go get to the stage, and I have to walk back and forth sometimes. It's just a lot. And I remember, I think I made the trip to and from the tour bus 5 or 6 times.
So maybe that's why people are Steve's the man. for this industry because he's fit. Look at him.
Dude, it's not even that. It was like so stressed. It was like so
You're pretty
stressful.
fit, man. You're looking good. So
Thanks. I'm trying. It's just that like it's really stressful to do because you're like having to be timely, and you usually got go-karts to go back and forth. That's usually what happens.
Right.
But when you're working festivals, sometimes it's just really hard to like get a go-kart going.
Well, of course, yeah. You can't. What are you gonna do? Just like, I mean, you could go full Mad Max and just be running down the fans, but
No, but there's
they might be like, well, we're not gonna make our net gain on fans is under target because you keep running them over.
Well, the way the Cowboys Stadium is built is basically there's just a giant ring, like a ring that wraps around. That's a road, and that's all it works. That is a pedestrian thing. There's also a snack bar called the Admiral's Snack Bar.
Okay.
Like Admiral Back Bar.
Oh, it's a trap.
It said it on the snack thing too. I'll show you photos. Remind me after the show. But yeah, and then there's also like there's the area load-in where you can actually fit entire trucks and tour buses and everything of gear.
Right.
Like the guy I was working with had 3 tour buses and a truck. Is that insane? Like
That's
3 tour buses of people and a truck.
Wow.
Like wild.
What and all the
And his tour bus is custom built.
Wow. And this is just a support staff for the tour.
The crew and other members of the band.
Wow. Did they have buses based on who was doing what role, or was it more like this is was it more like time shifting? Like these are the guys moving the gear, this is the band and their supporting staff.
Usually there's like artists, production, and crew.
Right.
That's like how it's split up, I guess, through the 3 buses.
Okay.
And me as a photographer would normally ride with like crew.
Okay.
But like the thing is though that's hard is that I have to like command that this table is mine so I can use my laptop. And I'm working out of a bunk,
Right. Because eventually you're going to be turning into the Hunchback of Notre Dame doing that.
What's so funny is I was actually wearing this shirt. I got this shirt from Iceland, and like I had a few people ask me about it when I was there. It says Puff Fiction because it's puffins.
Right. Of course.
I went on the tour bus that day, and
I love puffins.
Coincidentally,
Is
the
that
artist,
lame?
That's not lame. They're really cool.
Yeah, they're really
cool.
cool.
Throw them back. There's a thing you could throw them back in the ocean this time of year.
Really?
Yeah, but I didn't go this time of year. I went in March.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, so
I'd like to throw a puffin.
Dude, go.
Do you have to be strong for puffin throwing? It's not like I feel like it could be
football. Kick the puffin.
And then it goes squeak.
Yeah, no. I walked onto the tour bus, and the guy was coincidentally who I met him for the first time, and I've worked with him several times since then.
Yeah.
But I met him for the first time, and he looked at me wearing a Puff Fiction shirt while he was watching Pulp Fiction on the TV.
What? That's crazy.
And he's just like, "What's going on here?" And then I started talking to his bandmates.
I'm just totally picturing the scene with the gold briefcase, with the puffins. Anyway,
we were actually
talking.
They were talking to me. He's like, "What's your favorite like theory about Pulp Fiction?" And I'm like, "What? Like what? Like what's your favorite like? Wait, what's your favorite thing about it?" I'm just like, I didn't know. It was just like, "Well, what do you think is in the briefcase?" I'm like, "A light bulb." And he's just like, and he's like,
they didn't have LEDs back then. What else could it be?
I thought it was the soul of Marcel Wallace or whatever. And then he's just like, the combination on the briefcase was. He's like, the combination on the briefcase was 666. I'm like, the combination was 666. He's like, you don't know that? You don't deserve to wear that shirt. And I'm like, sorry, just trip.
and then Steve was naked.
And then the fucking tour manager walked on the bus with 2 big ass bags of Five Guys.
Yeah.
Just a shitload of burgers and fries for everybody.
Well, I mean, after they saw you were so ripped, they had to try to bring you down to their level.
I wasn't offered any, but there are when you work at big events like this, there's like crew, like artists and crew catering. Mm-hmm. And like when I was at Texas, they had like chili dogs. They had what's it called? Well, lobster rolls. They had a salad section. They had a juice bar. Like it was pretty intense. There's a lot going on there. And like it's the same thing with all the festivals and stuff too. You just got to show that you're part of crew.
Right.
And like I ate like a king those days.
So Iceland, you've been to Iceland. What other places have you been, and where's your favorite place? Like Iceland's on my short list. I got to say I have not been there. But like there's a few places I want to go. I've been to New Zealand, I've been to Mexico, I've been to Canada. Where have you been that's been the most awesome and been the biggest surprise?
I mean, I got a tattoo.
Dude, I was going to ask about your tattoo. You got that in Iceland?
No, I got it in New York because I didn't like the artist I saw in Iceland.
You're like, I love your art, but your art is...
an Icelandic wool sweater that wasn't actually Icelandic wool. It was made out of Australian wool.
So you're saying that's not a volcanic scar?
No, this is called the Vegvisir. It's a compass.
Oh, okay.
But it's the sigil.
I mean, I see the rune in the center, and it matches the rune on your necklace. I've noticed.
I got my necklace from Iceland.
You see this pattern matching?
The center is stands for purpose.
Okay.
So that's like why I got it.
Okay.
So it's just like, and also I thought it was a cool looking rune, but also it aligned with like what I wanted.
Your purpose aligns to your terrain. That makes sense.
So then there was
Don't underestimate your terrain.
Wait, also like I said, the whole point is that it connects like the soil with the sky. Like that's the whole like thing behind it. There's like a lot of meaning to it.
Nice.
And yeah, so I got that.
I love it. It's beautiful. And I don't know who your tattoo artist. I don't know if you want to give him a shout, but
Patrick Dugan from Vamachara Tattoo. Vamachara. They're very talented, and it's just one guy and his apprentice and his girlfriend who works.
You have a really good head for facts. Unfortunately, you think I would trying to do this kind of podcast thing.
I just retain a lot of useless shit. Hi, college dropout here. How's it going?
Hey. Yeah.
But yeah, that was
really fuck the system, man. I'm a rebel. Look at my tattoo.
Look at my nose ring, dude.
Look at my nose ring.
But no, it's like it's God. I went to the Middle East after the whole October 7th event with Hamas.
Okay.
So that was pretty wild. Like so
what happened there?
It was very. It's just I don't want to get too much into it because like it's a very kind of politically sourced subject, and like I just don't want to like anger people on either side of that.
Yeah, I mean I completely understand why you wouldn't want to, but
basically
I kind of got the gist already. But you know,
it's weird seeing someone. It's weird going to the gym and seeing M4s like just across the walls.
Right.
Like it's just, they have people working out. It's weird seeing someone hold their child in one arm and a gun in the other. Like,
right.
Really weird.
Yeah.
And it's also really weird just hearing explosions in the distance too. That aren't fireworks.
Wow.
Which, by the way, July 4th apparently lasted for 20 days because my dog would not fucking go outside because of the fireworks.
Really?
Yeah, he was so scared.
Wow, your dog had PTSD from Independence Day.
He's lucky he's a male because he's such a bitch.
You have talked about your dog a lot. It's amazing. I get it. My dogs are adorable.
It's not like that. It's like another person in your life.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm just like, oh, guess I see my dog or whatever. It's just more like this is an ongoing constant in my life.
In the divorce, I got the dogs.
Nice.
So yeah, high five for that. Totally agree. By the way, yeah, and
if you have the space and you have the money and the time, it's worth having them. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I had dogs my whole life. I love dogs, and I'm
a cat person.
Yeah, they're really. You're a cat person. Are you a cat person because of this dog, or just you're always a cat person?
I've always loved cats. They just kind of they do their own thing. Dogs are like kids. Cats are like roommates.
Oh, yeah, that's true. They're just
like this.
They're like a deadbeat roommate. They don't want to pay.
Have you ever had cats before?
I have not had cats. I've had cat friends, but I've never had a cat.
So have you ever been to a friend's house coming home with them when they had cats?
Yeah.
You don't see them. They're nowhere to be found. What happens when you walk through your front door with your dogs?
Oh yeah, it's
assault.
It's a drama. It's a drama.
Like I walk through my front door, my dog jumps on me.
Like totally serious. Like so, one of the things they tell you in puppy training is avoid big greetings because it does perpetuate itself. The longer they've been doing it, the harder it's going to be to get out of it. But if you just deny them the big greeting, they will stop eventually.
I do. I throw him off me, and then what ended up happening is that I'll walk through the front door, and then I'll just see him sitting on the couch because basically he's so big that I dedicated the futon to be his dog bed.
Really?
Yeah, he's huge.
So you sleep on the futon, and he sleeps on the human bed. Is that what happens?
Or he has a futon. But anyway, so the futon. So I walk in, the futon's like right there, and he's just kind of sitting there looking up at me, and he just kind of licks his lips, and then like when I say hello to him, then he runs up to me.
Oh.
But until I say that, he doesn't do shit.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got it licked, literally licked.
He also is not food motivated, so it's pretty difficult.
Yeah.
He doesn't like if I'm training him outside around other dogs where he's really reactive to them, if I'm holding a treat, he doesn't care.
What breed is he?
He's a German Shepherd.
German Shepherd. Oh, I was picturing a little dog.
No.
Oh, yeah. They're dramatic.
He's a 75-pound black German
They get
Shepherd.
Bored.
Yeah.
They get totally bored.
They're
boredom driven. You got to give them a lot of little tasks.
I give them dog antlers, and they just have fun. He has fun with it.
Okay.
Like not dog, but like deer antler.
Yeah, okay.
So they have like the naturally shed antlers. I throw it to him, and he just likes chewing on it.
Right. He's like, man, if it wasn't in Queens, if it wasn't in Colorado right now, this would be a real deer.
But the thing is that he wouldn't survive around real life. He gets scared by cats.
He wouldn't survive in the wild.
He gets scared by cats, dude. Dogs are domesticated. They don't really do well in the wild.
Yeah, fair enough.
But dude, it's like, God, it's so funny because we adopted him because it's just a dog that needed help. I decided to jump in, my smart self.
So it was an adult dog.
We adopted him at 11 months.
That's an adult dog, yeah.
But
I would say up till about like 8 months as a puppy. Past that, you lose all the puppy energy.
Though. He's still not neutered because you're told to wait till 2.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
yeah, German Shepherds are. I applaud. Slow clap. I applaud you. That's amazing. Because like German Shepherds are a pain in the butt. I mean, they so require engagement.
They're almost like Huskies in how bad they are. He's a puppy that's not neutered. It's like
I love Husky videos. I'm addicted to them. They're just constantly talking. There's something wrong with me.
My dog, I kind of like punch him every time he like starts barking at me. Like he starts yapping at me. Like he'll do like dogs have like the bark, like the alert bark, and then the whining bark.
Mm-hmm.
If they're like, for those of you who don't know, like they'll do the like the deep like bark kind of thing. Like if they want your attention,
right.
You know something's happening, or they're more like if it's like they're disapprove of something. Like if they want to play with you and you don't want to play with them, they disapprove. They do that bark. But he stops doing that as much because I've been punishing him as a result. So he'll start doing the at me instead.
Yeah.
And just chomp at me.
I'll communicate with you. I'll tell you what I think. That sounds like your dog. You will tell people what you think. It's awesome. That was what I got to tell you, like, thank you so much. Like I'm sure that most of my guests will not watch this. And if they do, well, I'm sorry. But like it was one of the best things about having you engineer my show and being Secret Steve out in the background. It's like my guests got completely out of control. You just do that. You'd be like, it like right.
I forgot. I don't want to name names. You had some guests that were definitely going off the deep end at points.
Well, they don't know what they're doing. They've never been on a show like that.
No, it's not that. They'll start like rambling about like some intense ideologies that aren't going anywhere, and you're losing viewership and whatever.
Yeah.
And I'll just text them like, bring it back to center.
Right.
I'm usually good with that. And like I'll say to like, or like sometimes like if you're talking about a subject and like you're doing like the Dystopia report, let's say, and you're going like this in a very different direction.
Right.
I'll say, oh man, I have some cool news about it. You're like, what's that, Steve? So I'll propose news, and then you're back on topic.
Speaking of which, let us know, or let me know, let us know, if you're enjoying this. This is completely unscripted. I mean, I would never script my.
I sent you?
I would never script my. You sent me a script.
Is that why you're not following your lines?
I don't know. He's doing good for improv. This is all improv. I mean, like I have this little sheet. I literally haven't even looked at it.
I'm a Yaposaurus Rex.
Yeah. So I'm just bringing things up as I remember them. I will
be good
say
at talking if you network. You know.
Yeah.
You gotta be good at pulling shit out of your ass.
Yeah. No. I mean, well, I don't want to. The thing is, like, all right, I don't really want to pull shit out of my ass. I actually want to talk to you about what's going on in your life, what's important to you, what you're thinking about. I mean, I had no idea you went to that what event did you say it was? The Hamas event?
Oh, in the Middle East?
The Middle East. You went to the Middle East, and like I had no idea that you were traveling so much. I mean, you've been to so many cities. Seems like that Iceland was your favorite. This is what I want to know. And I think this is what people want to know out there too. And it's not like it's boring and there's no good topics, So I mean, like, the problem is here's the problem. If I write out a script, right, that means I'm sitting alone in the mindset that I am when I'm sitting alone in my office, writing out how the show's going to go. And the thing is, I'm good at it. I'm really good at it, and I'll direct how the show's going to go. And I don't want to do that. I want it to be a reflection of who Steve is.
Well, it's also a timepiece. Like, it's a time capsule every episode. It's, like, reflective on where you were at that point in your life.
Right.
Who knows? I might not be in this position I am at next year, or even a month from now. No one knows.
You probably won't.
But like that's the important thing to note. And I don't know if you remember when you first started the show. You basically always looked to me for feedback. The fucking engineer of all people.
Right.
You always looked to me for feedback.
Well, I trust you. You're honest.
And one thing that you definitely
brutally
did over time is you like I've gotten better.
Yeah. No. You're fine.
You would sometimes just like a guest would start talking and you just veer off and it's like, oh, fuck the script and just throw it. And you do that many times.
Yeah,
to the point where you've gotten a much looser script as a result. Right. And I think what you started to understand.
And I've hit zero script. I mean, you're here for it. It's appropriate that you're here for zero script. So
I think what's important is that you need to understand that where people are at in their lives at those times and what they're going through and what's on their mind and how it pertains to, let's say, current events.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I do agree Dystopia Report was good to like start things, but like there's so many long form podcasts out nowadays. And like I think it's not starting directly with the news and interspersing the news is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like even doing something like you're talking about a topic like, oh, here's an event that happened. Like we did the Staten Island thing with the noise cameras,
mm-hmm.
or even the Lincoln Park thing or stuff like that. Just like those little there's little things that were relevant to what we're talking about.
Right. Well, one of the things I'm finding is one of the things that was happening with the Dystopia report. It was I was getting more and more discerning, and I was trimming out stuff. Like I was using the same.
I remember since COVID, it just kind of started getting like a bit more like, what should I talk about?
Right. And it was like there was before pre-COVID.
The man called it.
There was like 5 to 8 stories that I could possibly cover, and I covered all of them. Yeah. And post-COVID, it started being like, okay, I have to cut a couple of these stories. More recently, I've gotten to the point, like the past few episodes where I was doing Dystopia Report, it got to the point where I was like, there are 40 viable stories here about technology intruding in our lives, like messing our lives up or making our lives way better. Mm-hmm. I can't even cover this all. I can't even get close. And I think that's the point where I kind of hit like I mushroomed out. I'm just like, okay, I can't do this anymore. I'll still pay attention personally to stories, so please keep sending me your stories, and they will come up occasionally if it comes up on the topic, but it's too big. I mean, like, what kind of rock do you have to be living under right now to not know that technology is fucking everyone's life up?
I remember I was talking to someone, and I heard people talking about like the whole thing about like, you know, how easy it is to take over cars, especially like modern cars. And my car's 07, so I drive like an older vehicle. So like in my car, I don't think it's susceptible to that.
Yeah, you're pre-CAN bus.
But I never realized it until I drove that Hyundai, the EV, and there's like automatic driving on it. Like there's autopilot to a degree. It's not that great. It sucks pretty badly.
Right.
But that literally means a computer could take over your like drivetrain.
Right. If a computer can drive it when you ask it to, it means it can drive it when you don't ask it to.
It's really nuts.
And that's one of the problems with your experience where it was kind of sanitized is because it's drive-by-wire. There's no feedback. Yeah. Like when old school cars like your car and my cars have a steering rack and your steering wheel is mechanically attached to the steering rack. When your tire hits a pothole, the tire bounces. It bounces the steering a little. It bounces the rack. It bounces the box, and it bounces your wheel. That's the actual road that you're feeling in your hands. It's just drive-by-wire now. It's literally electronics. It's a motor and one end and a motor in the other end. Yeah. And I mean you don't feel it. And I mean like you might be like, well, who cares about that? That's off topic of what we're talking about, but it kind of isn't. Your mind going, this is boring, this sucks, I feel disconnected. That last part of that thought is actually a warning. Yeah. It's actually your conscience going, you could get into trouble here. This car has complete control of the situation, and there's a pile of software that you can't access, but maybe someone who knows what they're doing can, between you and the road.
In Iceland, I drove this, it was like a Mitsubishi crossover. Mm-hmm. And I'm not the best at apparently car models that are like consumer cars, but like there's a feature that exists in a lot of modern cars where it was an automatic cruise control where you can tell it how far you want it to follow the car in front of you, and it'll do that, and it'll stay that distance the entire time, following speed ups and slow downs and everything in cruise control. It's nuts to me. Mm-hmm. So cool.
So is it? What model car is it?
It was a Mitsubishi crossover. I forgot the name of it.
Okay.
But my friend has it.
What kind of so that's the was it radar based or was it camera based? Do you know?
I think it was radar based.
Okay, I don't actually know that car, so.
Because there's no front facing camera, because usually cars that have front cameras have the overhead projector when you're parking your car, and they didn't have that.
Okay, so then it was definitely radar based.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have cameras in the grill, but they don't do that. They'd rather have it in the windshield because the windshield wipers take care of clearing the path of the camera. So, interesting. And you said it wasn't that good.
No, it was really good.
Oh, it was.
It's just shocking that it's like.
But it wasn't autopilot good. It was just letting you know. It was keeping your distance.
Come on, Matt, keep up. The autopilot and the other car was bad.
No, hold on a second. So the original.
There's two different cars.
The first company to do that was Mercedes.
With autopilot.
With not the autopilot, but the radar based. Lane, cruise control. Distance control, I should say.
Makes sense. Mercedes does a lot of luxury features like that for like the first.
And people were raving about it. They said it was really good.
And they're at the start with the backup cameras too.
And it's so weird because the car manufacturers, don't want to add more. So, all right, we've hit the point where if a car gets into an accident, the most likely reason that it's going to, it's not going to be repairable if you get into an accident is it's not even just the tech specifically. I mean, the wiring harness has been super expensive for 30 years.
We have so many hair ties here.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
I just like it's like I'm almost like, what environment is Matt in that he needs 3 hair ties for? This is what I do when I'm on a motorcycle, but I don't know why I have that here. Maybe that is a very strong fan, so maybe that's what it is.
You're right. It's almost blowing the sweat off my face.
Right. Yeah. Well, you want it stronger? I can actually.
I'm okay, Matt. No, I'm good. Leave it.
No, I'm going to turn it up now. You just had to say something. Of course
my final's over there, so in case I get cold.
There you go.
You know the mic's going to pick it up, right?
I have no idea if that's going to be. Let us know.
The mic's definitely picking it up.
You think the mic's picking that up? Let us know if you can hear the tornado in here.
I definitely see the meter.
Oh yeah, look at the meter. Crap. Okay. So that's not really getting picked up. It's barely.
Ligma.
Yeah, okay. I'll live with that. Anyway, so, dude, you didn't tell me you were sweaty.
I wasn't sweaty. I was joking.
Okay.
That's what I was trying to say. Don't worry about it.
I don't know. Don't worry about it, and I'm joking or different. Yeah, so...
I should have a POV camera here, so I can just, like, point at everything that's going on chaotically.
Yeah, I mean, well, so what do you think of the studio?
I'm getting lit by ring lights. That's, like, really throwing me off.
Yeah.
I'm used to having, like, soft boxes.
You think I should make them tone them down a bit, or
no? I mean, listen.
They go softer. I mean, I don't really need the light. I just did it to like make us better lit so that people could see us.
You need.
I do.
You need. These are called key lights.
Right.
Key lights are the lights that light your subject.
Mm-hmm.
You also have something called backlights, which what they do is they are shined usually either at the backdrop or at you to separate you from the backdrop. So
okay.
They shine at like my shoulders, let's say. So my shoulder that is black doesn't blend with the black background.
Right.
And then you also have something called hair lights.
So on camera, yeah, you blend a bit.
Yeah.
But you're it's not too bad.
You also have hair lights. Hair lights do the same thing. I mean, also the solution is just wear a different colored shirt.
Mm-hmm.
But hair lights do the same thing as like separating you from the background. And then you also have what's called fill lights too. Which there's like a dark shadow on my face.
You know what's funny? I didn't know this, and I just did it by trial and error. I just messed around and moved lights around until I was happy.
Well, you saw the setup I did in Area 22 before, like towards the end of like when we had your show on, like how nice it was getting.
It was getting really nice.
I really just kind of.
I looked really handsome. Thank you, Steve.
I think there's one episode.
I looked deceptively handsome. Like, who's that handsome man? And that was
specifically I worked really hard on the lighting for. Whereas like I didn't use any of the studio lights. I used my own lighting, and I built it up to everything. It was really fun.
Thanks for all the effort that you put in, man. I'm starting to get a little tired. I don't know if it's the booze.
Let's call it off.
Yeah, I mean, I think I might call it. You know, we started late. I would have liked to go another half an hour, but I gotta pee, man.
Makes sense.
I mean, I had a coffee and two cups of booze. So, is there anything else that you want to promote or talk about? You know, something you want to talk to people about? I mean, we've been going for 2 hours and 11.
Live.
Thank you.
Support local music.
Yeah, and if you know any guests that you like, you can talk to me after about it. But if you know any guests,
I forgot when we used to ask that. I was like, "Oh, who do you want me to have on the show?"
Yeah, I'm always looking for guests. I'm looking to meet people and then ask them strange questions, make them uncomfortable, keep them here for an unusually long time to the point where they're almost to the border of kidnapping, and then, but it's really my audience kidnapping them because I'm not, I'm just doing it for them. So
I think I don't know. Like I said, just whoever I think you think could contribute to a good conversation, who has insightful information that people would want to hear.
Right.
Like I know like a lot of people get scared just I guess doing these kinds of things. I mean, I personally just it's whatever. It's like, oh, it's just Matt. It's cool. Like, it's like I've worked with you for so long. Like, was it 2-3 years?
Oh my God, yeah.
Like
we could like complete each other's sentences if we tried.
Sentences.
But
yeah, I don't know.
Cat spelled dog.
I can't name somebody because there's probably just gonna be somebody who can run into like in a coffee shop that you might think would be a good fit.
Yeah.
Like I mean, what do you think? The odds of us meeting were so like minuscule.
Right. Are they happy? Is your gig happy?
Yeah, they're happy.
Okay.
It's God, it was such a weird request, like a last minute thing.
Really?
I'm like, could it wait like a couple hours? Like it's gotta be out in 30 minutes. I'm like,
yeah. You know what? It's fate. The bad network cable gave you the opportunity. You didn't get interrupted. And by the way, you know, I'm going to just do shows at random times.
Talking on the show,
so definitely subscribe. Definitely give me a like. Definitely give Steve a like. And keep track. Like, follow me either. I'm on X, X.com. I'm on Facebook.
Call it X? I was asking this before the show.
It's Twitter.
So does anybody say
it's totally Twitter. I started saying X just because I'm on there. So, you know, I'm actually got my viewership's really going up on X. So
my app is still Twitter. I never updated it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
I just didn't care to, and I don't like the color scheme because it's going to look a lot like Threads, and I don't even like Threads.
Right. Yeah, I got that. Hey, man, thanks so much for coming on. I appreciate it. And sorry for all the chaos. Sorry
for my chaos.
No, what are you kidding me?
Yeah,
it was perfect, actually. So we're both, just so you guys get the picture, we're both working. I'm on my laptop pounding away. He's on his laptop pounding away. That's what that picture is. That's why that thumbnail, totally different than the interview, but that is really where we were.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. Let me know what you think about the format, even if you have to text me or email me privately, you know, if you have something bad to say and you don't want to say it in public. I get that. And thanks so much for tuning in. And stay tuned. I do not have a guest lined up for next week, but I'm going to take the guests as they come. So maybe it could even be sooner. Thanks again. Choose wisely. Choose to share.
Support local music.
Support local music.
And artists.
And support Steve.
Okay.
Good night, everybody.
Gute Nacht.
And